Chapter 302. The power of the Thunder and Lightning Divine Rune Talisman is not bad, but against Yi Tianyun's heaven-defying defense, the effect is really negligible. Lei Yun, who was sent flying, quickly bounced up from the ground, clutching his chest. Yi Tianyun's punch caused his injury to be quite serious. The most important thing is that his own power has no effect on Yi Tianyun. This heaven-defying power makes him feel powerless. I won't say anything about obediently surrendering, I will beat you until you surrender. Yi Tianyun closed in step by step. Previously he wanted to use instant transmission to sneak attack Lei Yun, but thinking that there are so many people here watching, he temporarily chose to give up this action. I can't lose. Lei Yun sensed the approaching danger and roared. The thunder and lightning divine runes on his body frantically released. Dense thunder and lightning flowed on the surface of his body, and even a few lightning bolts were released from his body, striking the ground and giant trees, all of which were scorched black. Just the place where he was standing was bombarded by the power of thunder and lightning. His battle power soared crazily, but this is really meaningless to Yi Tianyun. Thunder God's descent. Lei Yun clenched his fist, and with a loud bang, a divine thunder fell from the sky and struck his body. In an instant, his power suddenly increased by several times. His battle power directly rushed to tens of millions of battle power, and the terrifying power caused people's hearts to tremble. Originally, the divine runes on his body were already very amazing, but after using the divine art, with the support of heaven and earth power, his battle power soared. The next moment, a long spear appeared in his hand, and without the slightest hesitation, he rushed towards Yi Tianyun. Thunder Dragon Flash. A phantom of a thunder dragon condensed from the power of thunder and lightning on his body, and Lei Yun's whole body turned into a huge thunder dragon, roaring towards Yi Shiwen. The long spear in his hand was like the mouth of a huge dragon, biting down towards Yi Shiwen. Everything happened too fast. The power of thunder and lightning originally had the effect of increasing speed, so they couldn't see Lei Yun's speed at all. In an instant he had already arrived in front of Yi Tianyun. Lei Yun's eyes were filled with the power of thunder and lightning, holding the long spear tightly and stabbing it towards Yi Tianyun's chest. The tip of the spear was filled with extreme killing intent, like a divine thunder. Yi Tianyun stood motionless, and the moment the tyrannical long spear stabbed towards him, Yi Tianyun grabbed the long spear tightly. The lightning in the long spear disappeared in an instant, and it became a normal high-grade soul tool. Even the power of thunder and lightning on Lei Yun's body was continuously absorbed by Yi Tianyun. How can this be? Lei Yun was shocked. His attack had no effect at all. Especially the power of thunder and lightning, it had actually disappeared. He could clearly see that when Yi Tianyun grabbed his long spear, the power of thunder and lightning on it seemed to have found an outlet and immediately rushed out. But it didn't cause any damage to Yi Tianyun. Come here. Lei Yun could clearly see that when Yi Tianyun grabbed his long spear, the power of thunder and lightning on it seemed to have found an outlet and immediately rushed out. But it didn't cause any damage to Yi Tianyun at all. Come here. Lei Yun suddenly dragged the long spear over, and then fiercely smashed it into the ground. With a dong sound, Lei Yun was heavily smashed into the ground, and the ground was smashed so hard that a large hole appeared. Then he pulled out the long spear and threw it to the side. After the spear spun a few times, it fiercely sank into the giant tree, and only half of the spear was exposed outside. It was enough to see that the degree of sharpness was quite shocking. Tianyun said as he reached out to grab him, trying to control him. Okay, you're going to be a good boy and stay here. Get lost. Lei Yun roared, and the thunder and lightning divine runes on his body instantly detonated. The crazy power of thunder and lightning, as if it had been stored for a long time, was released all at once. The divine thunder soared to the sky, and its power was a bit stronger than before. Quickly dodge, that is the power of thunder and lightning that he has stored for a long time. Yi Qingxian hurriedly reminded. In addition to enhancing his strength, the thunder and lightning divine runes on Lei Yun's body can also store the tyrannical power of thunder and lightning. Originally, his physique was already amazing, and from time to time, he would release an amazing power of thunder and lightning. Therefore, he needed the thunder and lightning divine runes to suppress and store it in the divine runes. If he released it all at once when his life was in danger, it wouldn't be difficult for him to fight someone of a higher rank. The current attack was the best proof, and its power suddenly soared to 16 million battle power. It was unknown how long the power had been stored for, but it burst out with such an amazing power. However, a bolt of lightning pierced through and directly hit Yi Tianyun's body. His body was enveloped by lightning, and it was so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Many people were stunned, and Lei Yun's face was even more ferocious. He felt that he had succeeded in electrocuting Yi Tianyun to death. Yi Qingxian bit her lip and pounced towards Yi Tianyun without hesitation. She didn't care about the terrifying lightning at all. "Saintess, don't go over." They quickly tried to stop Yi Qingxian, but she was too fast, and they couldn't stop her at all. However, by the time Yi Qingxian pounced, the lightning had already disappeared, and instead, she was in Yi Tianyun's arms. "Calm down, do you think this broken lightning can hurt me?" Yi Tianyun hugged Yi Qingxian with a faint smile on his face. He held a pearl in his hand, which was flickering with lightning. All the lightning just now was absorbed by this pearl, and this pearl was the Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl obtained from killing the Divine Inscription Mansion's old ancestor. The most magical thing about this thing is that it can absorb the power of lightning. As long as the power of lightning is not very strong, it can absorb as much as it comes, and it won't refuse anything. Stored in this Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl, it can not only be used for cultivation, but also to defend against enemies. Lei Yun's attack just now made him quickly take out this Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl and absorb all the power of lightning, leaving nothing behind. Therefore, the seemingly terrifying power of lightning just now, not to mention injuring him, it was all absorbed and stored in this Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl, and there was no problem at all. What the hell is this thing? When Lei Yun saw the Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl in Yi Tianyun's hand, he was incomparably shocked. He released such a strong power of lightning, but it was actually absorbed. Chapter 303. Impossible! This is impossible! Lei Yun roared. He slapped the ground and charged towards Yi Qingyu. The lightning divine marks on his body were completely released. All of a sudden, all the divine marks were released from their shackles. All the lightning energy gathered into a thick bolt of lightning and shot towards Yi Qingyu. A huge lightning dragon opened its mouth and swallowed Yi Qingxian. The terrifying lightning energy was so strong that even the deacons of the spirit race who were standing far away could feel it. They were all charging towards Yi Tianyun. "Saintess!" They all exclaimed, but they didn't dare to get close. It wasn't that they didn't want to help, but with their strength, even if they got close, they would die. How could they help? "All of you go to hell." Lei Yun's face was full of ferocity. He looked at Yi Tianyun and the others who were covered in lightning and sneered. Even if Yi Qingxian was killed, he didn't feel any pity. To him, all of this was no longer important. So long as they went against him, then only death awaited them. After a short while, the lightning quickly disappeared and was absorbed into the Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl. What he saw was Yi Tianyun's mocking expression. "I told you this is useless. If your Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl was dozens of times stronger, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Unfortunately, its power is too weak." The two of them were completely fine. The Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl had absorbed all of it. Nothing was left. The terrifying effect of the Heavenly Thunder Divine Pearl made them widen their eyes. Such a terrifying effect, could it be that it had reached the level of a divine tool? Lei Yun was stunned. He thought that he would see two corpses, but what he saw was two people who were completely unharmed. All the lightning energy he released was sucked dry. He had already released all the lightning energy in the lightning divine marks on his body. There was no attack left. At most, he could only use normal attacks. Other than that, there was still lightning attack. However, the strongest lightning energy had been released. How could normal attacks be effective against Yi Tianyun? Impossible, impossible, impossible. Lei Yun roared as he sent a punch towards Yi Tianyun. His entire body swelled up as he sent a violent punch towards Yi Tianyun. The power of lightning surrounded his body. I like to compete with fists. Yi Tianyun gently pushed Yi Qingxian away, and then fiercely punched Lei Yun's fist. The expressions of the others changed. The spiritual race deacons hurriedly shouted from the side. Don't compete with him with your fists, he's very strong. Before he could finish his sentence, their fists had already collided. With a dong sound, Lei Yun was sent flying and slammed into a giant tree. His entire arm was twisted off. Obviously, under this punch, Lei Yun's power was much weaker than Yi Tianyun's, and he was completely killed in one hit. Everyone suddenly fell silent. They were kind enough to remind him, but now they realized that there was no need to remind him at all. Yi Tianyun's strength was also strong enough. Without the heavenly thunder deity pearl, he could still suppress Lei Yun. At the next moment, Yi Tianyun did not waste time talking nonsense with him. He rushed up to Lei Yun. Before Lei Yun could get up, he had already kicked his dantian heavily. The violent power gathered at one point and then exploded in his dantian. Bang! Lei Yun was heavily pressed against the giant tree. His face was full of pain, and then he screamed, You destroyed my dantian. Cough, cough, cough. After saying that, he kept coughing up blood and was in extreme pain. Yi Tianyun destroyed his dantian, which meant that he was temporarily disabled. If he wanted to recover his dantian and be able to cultivate, he would need at least the 5th grade elixir. However, the price was not only high, but also the difficulty of recovering his previous cultivation was not small. After destroying his dantian, Lei Yun was much more stable. Without his cultivation, what was left was a good physique, but it was much easier to control. If I don't destroy your dantian, am I supposed to beat you up? Idiot! Yi Tianyun sneered, turned to Yi Qingxian and said, I'll leave him to you. How you want to deal with him is your business. But Yi Qingxian nodded. Her eyes were focused on Lei Yun, and there was a hint of coldness in her beautiful eyes. Lei Yun, it's time to settle this score. After saying that, she swung the silver whip in her hand and wrapped it around Lei Yun, completely turning him into a prisoner. Qingxian, if you don't let me go back, be careful of the ancestor and the rest. Lei Yun did not forget to threaten at this time. Slap. Yi Qingxian slapped Lei Yun heavily, and his mouth was full of blood. How dare you hit me? Slap. Yi Qingxian slapped him heavily again without mercy, and a few of his teeth were knocked out. So what if I hit you? Not killing you right away is the greatest mercy I can give you. Yi Qingxian looked at him coldly, then immediately turned around and dragged him back, and said, Let's go back to the tribe first. Yes. They followed one after another, and the big stone in their heart was lifted a little bit. This group of invaders was eliminated by them, and now the only thing left to do was to plan how to save the ancestor and the rest. Ding. Successfully completed Rescue the Spirit Race, Quest 3. Repel the invaders of the Netherworld Empire. Reward, 300. 000 EXP, 100. 000 CPS, 5. 000 SPs, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. Ding. Successfully accepted Rescue Spirit Race, Quest 4. Rescue Spirit Race Imprisoned in Netherworld Empire, Quest. Reward, 500. 000 EXP, 200. 000 CPS, 5. 000 SBS, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. After the 3rd quest was completed, the 4th quest immediately appeared, which was not beyond Yi Tianyun's expectation. He knew that the spirit race still had a lot of things to do, such as saving people was a must. If he wanted to become the king of the spirit race, he must become the savior of the entire spirit race. This was the only way to convince them to accept him as their king. However, this was only his guess, and whether he could succeed or not, he still had to see how difficult it was to save the spirit race. Soon they returned to the spirit race, and many of the spirit race people gathered around them, and when they saw Lei Yun was captured, they showed anger. It was all because of him that the spirit race was in this situation. When they knew that this was all done by Yi Tianyun, they were shocked, and at the same time, their favorability skyrocketed, and Yi Tianyun's reputation was completely spread here. Chapter 304. On the way to the pagoda, the people of the Spirit Clan cursed at Lei Yun, saying that he was ungrateful, despicable, and selfish. If Yi Qingxian hadn't stopped them, they would have already cut Lei Yun into pieces. Even though they were of the same race, this fellow was a complete scourge. He had brought disaster upon the spirit race. The root cause was the Netherworld Empire, but if it wasn't for Lei Yun, the Spirit Clan wouldn't be in such a miserable state. If they were united, even the Netherworld Empire wouldn't dare to go against them. The Spirit Clan's strength was not weak, and their connections were not weak either. This time, the Netherworld Empire had the upper hand. Even if they had good connections, they wouldn't dare to help the Spirit Clan. Now that the Spirit Clan was in such a miserable state, it would be meaningless to help them. Tianyun had seen this. If it wasn't for his help, the most they could do was launch a sneak attack. It would be impossible for them to drive the invaders away. Lei Yun alone was enough to suppress them. Originally, their trip this time was to completely suppress the spirit tribe. They did not expect that someone would appear out of nowhere and repair the divine inscriptions. Moreover, they even helped to clean up the mess. If Yi Tianyun didn't come, this place would still be able to resist for a while, but it would be impossible to resist for a long time. Yi Qingxian fiercely swung the silver whip in her hand. Lei Yun was sent flying and landed in the middle of the hall. At this time, Elder Yen had already come down. When he saw Lei Yun, his eyes were filled with anger. He wanted to kill him. Lei Yun, tell me everything you know. The key to the prison, the location of the elders and the ancestors, all the plans of the Netherworld Empire, tell me everything. Elder Yan's killing intent surged as he pressed down on Lei Yun. Since Lei Yun's cultivation had been destroyed, he was forced to kneel on the ground under the pressure. He couldn't struggle at all. This humiliation caused him to bite his lips so hard that they bled. However, he was unable to struggle. He was once an elder, and he was even a genius of his generation. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? Ha! You want me to tell you? Impossible. But I can tell you that the key to the prison is with General Long. Hurry up and get it. Lei Yun laughed loudly. Even though his cultivation had been crippled, he still revealed a look of disdain and looked down on them. General Long. Yi Qingxuan's brows wrinkled. They were enemies of the Netherworld Empire, so they naturally knew about General Long's power. The cultivation of a general was definitely not weak. His cultivation was definitely at the peak of core transformation stage. He was definitely at the 9th layer or even the void spirit stage. If he didn't have this level of cultivation, he wouldn't have been allowed to be a commander no matter how outstanding he was. Because no matter how outstanding the commander's ability was, if the other side sent an expert, they would still be able to take his head. Sometimes, the great general had to personally take action to kill all the invaders. That's right, it's General Long. If you have the ability, go and rob him to open the prison gate. Lei Yun said mockingly, don't worry, they will attack very soon. When there is no news from us for a long time, they will immediately attack. I will give you one last chance to surrender and join the Netherworld Empire. This is your last chance. Lei Yun knew that they couldn't snatch the key from the hands of a terrifying existence. He also knew that they were weak, so he threatened them. And you, aren't you very strong? When General Long comes with a group of strong people, you will know how weak you are. Helping the spirit race will be the biggest mistake of your life. Lei Yun sneered and said. Everyone's face suddenly changed. If General Long personally led a group of people to attack them, the spirit race would definitely fall. Slap. A heavy slap landed on Lei Yun's face. When everyone reacted, they found out that it was Yi Tianyun who slapped Lei Yun's face. They didn't expect that it was Yi Tianyun who slapped Lei Yun instead of Yi Qingxian. I feel that sparing your life is my biggest mistake. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. If you are tired of looking at him, you can leave him to me. I will help you get rid of him. In other people's ears, they thought that they didn't have the heart to kill Lei Yun, so they wanted him to do it himself. In fact, Lei Yun was a lot of experience for him, and he had a lot of divine rune mastery experience, so how could he let it go? There's no need. We will imprison him in the ice realm of the spirit tribe and let him suffer the pain of being frozen to death. Yi Qingshuan's gaze turned into a cold light that wanted to pierce through him. Ice territory. Lei Yun's face changed. How could he not know what kind of place the ice territory was? The deeper he went, the more pain he felt. His body was slowly being frozen. It felt like he was being pierced by countless sharp thorns, and it lasted for a long time until he was completely frozen. During the whole process, he stayed awake and felt the intense pain, which made him wish he was dead. In the end, he would still die, but he had already suffered too much pain, so he wanted to die. All right then. Yi Tianyun felt a little helpless. This was a divine rune master's divine rune mastery. Just a little bit more mastery was enough for him to improve his divine rune mastery. Take him to the ice territory. Yi Qingxian waved her hand and signaled her people to take him away. Yes, Saintess. They nodded and dragged Lei Yun away. Without his cultivation, Lei Yun was like a child, he couldn't struggle at all. You are dead. The spirit race will be destroyed in your hands. Only I can lead the spirit race to glory. Lei Yun kept struggling, and his face was full of anger and unwillingness. If you don't let me go, the old ancestor will die, and you will also die. Yi Qingxian and the others turned a deaf ear to Lei Yun's threat. As long as they were not fools, they knew that even if they let Lei Yun go, they would not be able to free the old ancestor. The spirit race fell into the hands of the Netherworld Empire, which meant that the Netherworld Empire would be in charge of the spirit race. Moreover, could Lei Yun's words be trusted? Would letting him go save everything? Saintess, what should we do now? If we continue like this, the Netherworld Empire will definitely send a lot of strong people to suppress us. Elder Yen looked at Yi Qingxian and asked. Yi Qingxian was silent, she didn't know what to do. She always felt a sense of helplessness. In the face of the huge Netherworld Empire, she felt very powerless. Don't worry, we should go and rescue the old ancestor while they don't know the news. At this time, Yi Tianyun, who was an outsider, interrupted. Everyone was startled and looked at him strangely. Everyone wanted to save the old ancestor, but did they have the key? Of course we know this, but we don't have the key. Even if we sneak in, we can't open the prison. Yi Qingxian sighed. Chapter 305. Yi Tianyun's words didn't cause too much of a commotion. They all shook their heads. That's right, we don't even have the key. How can we go in and save people? What? You have the key. Elder Yen and the others are wondering if they heard it wrong. They just said it subconsciously, and when they reacted, they realized that Yi Tianyun actually has a key. You really have the key? Yi Qingxian had a weird expression on her face. Yi Tianyun was like a savior sent by the heavens. Not only did he help them get rid of the intruders, he even had the key to the prison. I do have it. When I went to Dragon Gathering City, I killed Qing Feng and found the key. Yi Tianyun wasn't lying. He did get the key after killing Qing Feng. However, it was dropped and not found on his body. You killed Qing Feng? Yi Qingxian thought for a while and exclaimed, could it be that you were behind what happened in Dragon Gathering City? Am I behind what? I am helping the people get rid of the evil. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. Friend, were you the one who caused the destruction of so many factions, including the 2 ministers, as well as the burning of the Dragon Gathering City? Elder Yen asked. That's right, it was me. Yi Tianyun didn't have anything to hide. The people here were all core members and it was impossible for there to be a spy. Even if there was a spy, he didn't have to worry. His current face was fake, there was no need to worry about anything. Elder Yen had a weird expression on his face. Although he knew that Yi Tianyun was powerful, he was shocked when he heard that it was this young man in front of him who caused such a huge commotion. If anyone dared to say that he was a spy, Elder Yen would be the first to kill him. Burning the Dragon Gathering City's palace and getting rid of so many factions. Even if he wanted to sneak into the spirit race, he would have to pay a huge price. Everyone had a strange expression on their faces. They were wondering what the Netherworld Empire had done to provoke him to do such a thing. Is there a problem with that? Yi Tianyun asked. That's not a problem. They didn't ask why Yi Tianyun did such a thing, but they knew that Yi Tianyun had a deep hatred for the Netherworld Empire. As long as there are no problems. When do you plan to act? The sooner the better. While they don't know what's going on here, let's act quickly, Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice. They all nodded. Previously, they were worried about the problem of the key. Now that they had the key, they could enter. By the way, is young Master Yi sure that the key is the key to open the prison? Elder Yen asked curiously. I'm not too sure. I only know that it's the key to the prison. Yi Tianyun thought for a moment before saying, because there are too many uncertainties, I think it's better to move as few people as possible. How about this? I'll go with Qingxian. How about this? This? Elder Yen frowned. If the key was fake, they would be in danger, especially Yi Qingxian. She was the future hope of the spirit tribe. No problem, I'll go with you. Yi Qingxian agreed without hesitation. The fewer people, the better. If a large group of people went in, they would definitely be discovered. In fact, Yi Tianyun wanted to go alone. Not only did he know how to teleport, but he was also very strong. As long as it wasn't a void spirit stage expert, he would be able to deal with them. His concealment ability was top-notch. Very few people would be able to discover him. However, if he went alone, it would be troublesome if the spirit race didn't come out with him. Moreover, they needed someone to lead them out, and he would stand in front of them. This was the best solution. Saintess. Elder Yen was about to say something, but Yi Qingxian shook her head and interrupted him. Don't say anything, there won't be a problem. If we don't do this now, we won't have a chance. Yi Qingxian knew the seriousness of the situation. The longer they waited, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. All right, I'll stay here and guard. Elder Yen gritted his teeth and said, even if I die, I will protect the spirit tribe. Us too, even if we die, we will protect the spirit tribe. The other spirit tribe members said in a firm tone. Good. Yi Qingxian said. Then let's get ready, we'll leave immediately. Everyone nodded and began to prepare. Yi Qingxian and Yi Tianyun had their own arrangements. Yi Qingxian didn't prepare much. She only prepared some pills and some equipment. She didn't prepare anything else. This time, I'm very happy that you helped me. You helped me before, and this time, you've saved the entire spirit tribe. I don't know how to repay you. After Yi Qingxian finished preparing, her silver eyes reflected Yi Tianyun's figure. Yi Tianyun saw endless gratitude in her eyes. If it wasn't for him, the spirit tribe really wouldn't be able to resist. Tianyun smiled and patted his chest, then pointed to his head. Didn't you reward me? Not only do I have the inner eye, but I also have the memory of the divine sigil. Even the divine sigil that Lei Yun desired is in my head. Isn't that enough? That was the reward last time, it's different this time. Yi Qingxian shook her head and said, I thought about it, the only thing I can give you is the position of Spirit King. The position of Spirit King. Yi Tianyun was stunned. He didn't expect this to come out of her mouth. Yes, you have my talent. You have amazing talent in divine sigil, and you have amazing strength. I want you to become the Spirit King of the Spirit Tribe. Yi Qingxuan's expression became serious. As long as you can save all the Spirit Tribe members, even if you're an outsider, you can still become the Spirit King of the Spirit Tribe. I mean, isn't there an Emperor Qin? Even Lei Yun couldn't become a Spirit King because he was too impulsive. I'm an outsider, can I? Yi Tianyun knew that he had to go to this step, but he wanted to hear Yi Qingxuan's reason. I don't know why, but I feel that you can lead the Spirit Tribe to glory, Yi Qingxian said in a low voice. Of course, it's not that easy to become the Spirit King. Many people in the tribe will oppose it, but I want to support you to become our king. Commander points are too high. Yi Tianyun remembered that he had the Commander Grimoire. In addition, he had completed a few missions and earned a lot of commander points, which gave him more authority. What commander points? Yi Qingxian asked curiously. It's okay. We'll talk about this after we save all the Spirit Tribe members. If we don't save them, everything else is useless. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. But before that, I want to receive a reward. Is that possible? You even saved the entire Spirit Tribe. We can give you any reward. Yi Qingxian asked curiously, "What is it?" Chapter 306. Soul Accumulating Grass? Yi Qingxian said without hesitation, "That's not a problem. We have a few of them in our family. They are very rare and only grow in the pond. It can be said that apart from this lake of jade, it is very rare in the entire heavenly boundary continent. Without more than a few decades, this soul-accumulating grass basically won't mature." So rare. Yi Tianyun was surprised. He didn't expect it to be so rare. The appraisal I didn't say whether it was rare or not. Yes, if I were to sell it outside, it would definitely be crazily fought over. It's priceless. Most of them are used to refine soul-accumulating pills, which can strengthen the soul. It's the favorite of divine pattern masters. However, the price is too high, and it's too rare. The effect can only be said to be SOSO, so not many divine inscriptionists can afford it. Yi Qingxian smiled. Soul-accumulating grass is usually given as a reward to whoever contributes more. Now that you've saved the entire astral race, I can't give you too many, so I can only give you 2. After all, it's not up to me to decide. But if you can save the old ancestor and the others, you can even get the position of Spirit King. Let's talk about this later. I want the soul-accumulating grass now. Yi Tianyun wanted to see how much experience he could get. I'm going to break into the prison. I don't know if I can break through to the 4th level of the core transformation stage. The higher the better. No problem, I'll go get it now. Yi Qingxian led him forward. By the way, the spirit race has been besieged. Have you ever thought of escaping from here? Yi Tianyun was very curious about this. He felt that they were very stubborn. If they chose to escape from the heavenly border continent and hide in other continents, it would be very difficult for the Netherworld Empire to find them. Alas, we have thought about this for a long time. But giving up here is equivalent to giving up everything. To put it bluntly, if we leave here, we will be cursed to not be able to have children. Yi Qingxian said in a deep voice, "So if there is no other way, we will not abandon this place." What? Yi Tianyun was shocked. He didn't expect that there was such a deep meaning in it. He had thought that they were too stubborn, but it turned out that if they left this place, they wouldn't even be able to give birth. This was too serious. It wasn't just serious. If they escaped from here and didn't return, the final outcome would be total annihilation. Is this really a curse? Even if you marry someone from the outside world, it won't work? Yi Tianyun wondered. Yes, as long as we leave this area, we will not be able to reproduce. Yi Qingxian said, "Actually, we know what's going on. There's a special energy underground that can nourish us, but we don't know what kind of energy it is. They had been here since their ancestors had been here. Unless we know how to break this curse, we will not be able to leave this place. Forcibly leaving this place will only result in death. So that's how it is. It seems that I have misunderstood you." Yi Tianyun shook his head. This was indeed frightening. The spirit race was basically a cursed race. How could they be favored by the heavens? "Don't worry, we're used to it." Yi Qingxian brought him to the treasury and signaled for the guards to open the door. She led him in and took out the soul-accumulating grass. Other than the soul-accumulating grass, there were many other spiritual medicines and weapons. As a top force of the 3rd rank, they were definitely rich. Plus, they all knew how to carve divine glyphs. If they went out to help other forces carve divine glyphs, they would definitely be rewarded handsomely. If it weren't for the fact that the spirit race had difficulty reproducing, they would have become a 4th rank force long ago. This is the soul-accumulating grass. Do you need anything else? Yi Qingxian asked. Although many of them have been taken away, there are still many left. That's enough for now. I just want to try this soul-accumulating grass. Yi Tianyun smiled. You want to make a soul-accumulating pill for yourself to increase your soul strength? Yi Qingxian asked. Yes, you could say that. Yi Tianyun didn't know what to say. He couldn't say that he wanted to gain experience points, could he? That's fine. Go ahead and refine the pill first. I'll make arrangements here. Yi Qingxian didn't ask any further. She brought him to the alchemy room and told him to refine the pill while she went to settle some matters. In the entire alchemy room, There was only Yi Tianyun. He immediately took out a soul-accumulating grass and threw it into the purple fire divine furnace without hesitation. He quickly started refining the pill like crazy. He didn't want to drag things out. It would be best if he could break into the prison as soon as possible. Blaze. Flames continued to appear, refining the soul-accumulating grass. Since he was already a high-level alchemy expert and his luck wasn't low, his success rate was quite high. He had a success rate of 80%. If he still failed, he wouldn't be able to face anyone. 1,000 experience points, 3,000 experience points, 2,000 experience points. At this time, a fragrance wafted out. Just smelling the fragrance was enough to give him a lot of experience points. Of course, it was impossible to keep smelling it to level up. The pill would eventually dissipate completely. Otherwise, it wouldn't be stored in a jade bottle. Just smelling this fragrance can give me experience points. To me, this soul-accumulating pill is equivalent to an experience grass. Yi Tianyun nodded and continued refining. Under the crazy alchemy mode, it didn't take long for him to successfully refine the soul-accumulating pill. Ding! Successfully refined a 5th-grade pill, the soul-accumulating pill. Obtained 500,000 experience points, 500 alchemy proficiency points. Just by successfully refining the pill, the experience gained was quite good. The higher the grade of the pill, the more experience gained. This made him very satisfied. He then poured out the soul-accumulating pill. There weren't many, only 3. One soul-accumulating grass could at most produce 3 pills. Moreover, he achieved the effect of the 3rd refining. The more effective it was, the lower the success rate. Originally, he wanted to refine a pill with the effect of the 5th refining. However, the success rate was only 10%. It was terrifying. The 3rd refining was the most conservative and also the most suitable level. This time, let's see how effective it is. Yi Tianyun stuffed the soul-accumulating pill into his mouth, chewed it a little, and swallowed it. Ding! Consumed the soul-accumulating pill. Obtained 10 million experience points. Explosion! Absolute explosion. Yi Tianyun was dumbfounded. A whole 10 million experience points. His heart shook violently. At first, he thought a few million experience points would be good enough. He didn't expect it to be a whole 10 million experience points. Chapter 307. 10 million EXP. This is definitely an explosive amount of EXP. If I take more than a dozen of them, I will definitely level up directly. Yi Tianyun was shocked. His heart couldn't calm down for a long time. This time he finally saw what was called experience. There are always some things that can provide an explosive amount of EXP, just like some demon beasts that look very weak, but after killing them, they will drop the best equipment. This accumulating soul pill is the ultimate benefit. It gives 10 million EXP. He now needs 140 million EXP to level up, and he only needs 14 pills to level up. However, accumulating soul grass is very rare. As Yi Qingshen has said before, it is indeed very rare in the entire Heavenly Borders continent, and the price is extremely high. Oh right, I almost forgot. Let's see how much is it in the shop. Yi Tianyun opened the shop excitedly, and what caught his eyes was a very shocking price of 1 million crazy point, which made him silently close the shop. Sure enough, this bastard shop is definitely a scam. It will definitely not give a good price. Hoping that it would come up with something cheap and good was simply a fool's dream. Forget it, I will ask Star Pavilion to help me collect more pills later. Yi Tianyun helplessly shook his head. He felt that it was quite a pity, but he will not give up on this accumulating soul pill. 10 million EXP, how many demon beasts or core transformation stage experts would he need to kill to get 10 million EXP? Therefore, no matter how high the price is, he will buy it. Immediately, he continued to take the next 2 pills, and immediately got 20 million EXP, which made him feel very comfortable. If he was given a few hundred pills, it would really be a big deal. After taking the pills, he pondered for a while, looked at the accumulating soul grass in his hand and said, I don't know how the effect of the 4th refinement is. The 4th refinement will greatly increase the difficulty, causing the success rate to be greatly reduced. When he chose to try the fourth refinement, he found that the success rate dropped from 80% to 40%. This success rate is a bit low, and this is with the combination of the purple fire divine furnace, prestige value, and the immortal fire. It's only a 40% success rate, which is a bit too low. The legendary 9th refinement pill is already at the level of divine pill. I guess I can only try using Lucky Halo. Lee Tianyun instantly activated his Lucky Halo, and his success rate instantly soared to 70%. However, it was only an increase of 30%, which was probably the limit of the increase. 70% chance of success? Let's do it. Lee Tianyun felt that this success rate was still acceptable. He immediately deactivated the Lucky Halo and quickly started refining. The Lucky Halo only needed to be activated at the very end. If it was activated continuously, he really couldn't afford to waste it. Shortly after, he quickly began to refine pills and continued to refine pills in a frenzied manner. When he was preparing to condense the pills, he activated the Lucky Halo. Whether or not he could succeed would depend on this node. Ding! Successfully concocted the accumulating soul pill. Reward: 600,000 experience points, 600 alchemy proficiency points. TSK Tisk, not bad. The effect of the fourth refinement can also increase experience and proficiency. Lee Tianyun felt very satisfied. If he could refine the 9th refinement pill, the experience he would gain would also be explosive. It was just that the difficulty was a bit too terrifying. Pouring the accumulating soul pill into his hand, the glossy surface of the pill became even more glossy. He didn't hesitate to put it into his mouth, and suddenly the experience points exploded in his mouth. Ding! Successfully consumed the accumulating soul pill. Reward: 15,000,000 experience points. Increasing the refinement pill by 5 million experience points. Lee Tianyun felt like he just ate a bomb, and it exploded in his mouth. 15 million EXP. What if it was above the 5th refinement pill, or even the 9th refinement pill? He didn't dare to imagine what level of experience points he would get, but one thing was for sure, that is, the experience points won't be more than 5 million experience points. He calmed his mind and immediately swallowed the pill. Following which, a pleasant sound was heard. Ding! Congratulations to the player Tianyun for successfully breaking through to the 4th layer of core transformation stage. Finally, he leveled up again, and the speed was quite fast. If it wasn't for the accumulating soul pill, he wouldn't have been able to break through so fast. It's a pity that it's gone, otherwise, I could have gotten more experience points. Lee Tianyun nodded. The experience points he got from killing monsters was still considerable, but compared to the accumulating soul pill, it was still too far away. This was the type of experience pill he was looking for, and it was an explosive experience pill. When he was a little bit slower, a figure appeared at the door. Yi Qingxian had already finished her business and came to find him. You have finished refining the pill? Yi Qingxian saw Lee Tianyun sitting there without any movement. Well, I have finished eating, Lee Tianyun said with a smile. Let's go, we can go now. Are you ready? Ready, we can go at any time. Yi Qingxian said with a dignified expression. The place they were going to was extremely dangerous, and there was a high chance of survival. If they encountered General Long, how could they escape? Others didn't know how to escape, but Lee Tianyun knew how to escape, and he could escape directly with instant transmission. But this instant transmission was not omnipotent. It could only be used in a place where one's spirit sense could detect, and there was no obstruction. If one couldn't detect the place, then there was no way to teleport in. But if he couldn't detect the place, he really didn't dare to teleport in casually. If there were any traps inside, he would only be dragged into the pit. Well, let's go now. Lee Tianyun nodded and immediately walked out with Yi Qingxian. When they were ready to leave the forest, Yuan was already waiting for them at the door. Sister, big brother, you must come back safely. Yuan threw herself into her sister's arms. They had been busy all the time, and the sisters rarely gathered together. Don't worry, we will be back soon. Lee Tianyun smiled. This was not a problem for him, but they all thought that it was too dangerous. Yes, we will be very successful this time, wait for us to come back. Yi Qingxian hugged her and comforted her. And, after saying goodbye, they left the forest, not on the giant eagle, but Yi Tianyun flew with Yi Qingxian. Yi Qingshuan's cultivation has not broken through to core transformation stage, so she still relies on Yi Tianyun to fly. We must succeed this time. Yi Qingshuan's silver eyes were full of determination. I said, as long as I am here, you don't have to worry. Yi Tianyun said with a confident smile. If he didn't even have this much confidence, how could he become a strong expert? Chapter 308. Under the lead of Yi Tianyun, they quickly went to the Netherworld Empire's territory, the Netherworld continent. The Netherworld continent was next to the Heavenly Boundary continent. The entire continent belonged to the Netherworld Empire, otherwise, it wouldn't be called the Netherworld continent. The Netherworld Empire had absolute power here. If the Netherworld Empire ordered someone to do something, then the person couldn't resist. In fact, the forces in the Netherworld continent were equivalent to subordinates, otherwise, they wouldn't stay in the Netherworld Empire. The Netherworld Empire's ambition had already extended to the Heavenly Boundary continent, but there were also many who didn't want to join, so they didn't dare to force their way in. The area where the spirit race was imprisoned was not far away, it was just at the edge of the Netherworld continent. It was very famous in the Netherworld continent, it was called the Netherworld prison. They mainly locked up some prisoners, but no one knew exactly who they were. However, there was one thing that many people knew, and that was that after they were locked up, they were never seen coming out again. In the Netherworld continent, the most heavily guarded place was definitely the Netherworld Imperial Capital. This was the place where the Netherworld Emperor lived, so the security was naturally the most heavily guarded. The second place was the Netherworld prison, which was closely followed by the Netherworld prison. The security there was so tight that even a mosquito couldn't fly in. If one wanted to break in addition to amazing stealth techniques, they must also have amazing strength. Otherwise, they would be killed by the guards inside. The Netherworld prison is in front of us. Let's quickly fly down. The higher we fly, the more likely we will be discovered. Yi Qingxian signaled Yi Tianyun to fly down with her. Yi Tianyun nodded. Even if Yi Qingxian didn't say it, he could see that the Netherworld prison was in front of them. From afar, they could see an impenetrable wall that sealed the entire area. It was like a huge cover covering the ground. The wall was very thick. Aside from the main gate, there were no other exits. There were also divine runes engraved on the wall. Yi Tianyun understood this divine rune. It was a Grandmaster-level divine rune that could greatly enhance the defense of the wall. Not to mention spirit core cultivators, even core transformation cultivators wouldn't be able to easily break the wall. They might be able to break through with a barrage of attacks, but by the time they broke through, they would already be heavily surrounded. How extravagant! It's filled with reinforcement runes. Forget about being a prison, if it were to be used as a city, it would definitely be very difficult to break through. Yi Tianyun looked at the prison, feeling extremely shocked. The divine markings on the surface were all carved by the Patriarch. The divine markings on the inside were also carved by the Patriarch and the spirit race. It can be said that the Netherworld prison was built by our own hands. Yi Qingxian gritted her teeth and said, I didn't expect it to become our prison in the end, mainly to imprison our spirit clan. Why did they spend so much effort to build this prison? Yi Tianyun frowned. How could there be so many people locked up? After we built it, we didn't go in, so we don't know who's imprisoned here. But now that we know that there are astrals imprisoned inside, that's enough, Yi Qingxian said hatefully. Well, let's go closer and see the situation. Yi Tianyun took the lead and walked forward. The closer they got, the more they could see the magnificent Netherworld prison. It looked like a small city. There was nothing around the Netherworld prison, so as long as someone approached, they would be able to see it from afar. Before they got too close, Yi Qingxian signaled Yi Tianyun to stop. Let's go from the side. There is only one gate in the entire Netherworld prison. Aside from this gate, there are no other entrances. Yi Qingxian said. From the surface, it seems so. We can only go in from the front. Yi Tianyun looked around. There was only one entrance to the Netherworld prison. There was a huge gate at the front, which looked very imposing. But now it was closed by the heavy gate, so there was no way to go in. Unless they used brute force to break the gate, there was no way to enter. The gate at the front is also reinforced with divine glyphs. It'll be even harder to get in. Yi Qingxian shook her head. We can sneak in from another area. Don't forget, the divine glyphs in this prison were carved by us astrals, so we know how to break it. We sent some astral disciples in before, but they never came out. I'm afraid they've met with mishaps. They'll definitely be on guard. But at this point, if we don't hurry, the ancestor will be in trouble. Yi Tianyun nodded. Yi Qingxian followed him here not because she was reckless, but because she was prepared. If they couldn't even enter the gate, then what was the point of having the prison key? Yi Qingxian brought him closer to the prison and pointed to the ground. We'll dig a tunnel from here, then break the divine glyphs from underground, then break open this rock. That way, we'll be able to sneak in. No, there's no need to go through so much trouble. Wait a moment. Yi Tianyun shook his head. He didn't want to go through so much trouble. Under Yi Qingshuan's puzzled gaze, he began to explore the front with his powerful spiritual sense. His cultivation had reached the 4th level of the core transformation stage, so his spiritual sense's detection range was definitely more than 10 miles, which was already considered very far. He wanted to see if he could explore the situation inside. He didn't need to explore too deep, just a short distance would be enough. Immediately after he tried to forcibly penetrate the wall, he found that he was immediately blocked by the thick wall. To be exact, he was blocked by the divine glyphs on the wall. The divine glyphs had the effect of blocking the detection of spiritual sense, so it wasn't easy to get in. Not to mention penetrating the wall, he couldn't even penetrate an inch. I don't believe it. Yi Tianyun opened his eyes, and a blue light burst out from his eyes. The heavenly eye was released from his chest, and suddenly his spiritual force became much stronger. Yi Qingxian felt very strange. She didn't know why Yi Tianyun suddenly used the heavenly eye. After using the heavenly eye, his spiritual force suddenly soared. Soon, all the divine glyphs on the wall appeared in front of him, and he could see which part was weak and which part was strong. It's here. Soon, he found a place where the divine glyphs were relatively weak compared to other places. Then, his spiritual sense rushed towards it, and combined with the heavenly eye, the effect of his spiritual sense suddenly increased several times. Bang! In an instant, his spiritual sense penetrated into the wall and clearly explored a small area inside. Soon, he stopped, looked at Yi Qingxian and said with a smile, "Okay, we can go in now." Chapter 309. Yi Qingxian nodded. She didn't know what Yi Tianyun was doing, but since he said that they could go in, she didn't ask anymore. Time was of the essence. All right, let's start digging the tunnel now. Yi Qingxian took out 2 pickaxes. These pickaxes were not ordinary, they were soul tools. It was obvious that they knew they were going to dig a tunnel, so they specially made soul tool pickaxes. Although they were low-grade soul tools, they were still soul tools. With the soul tool pickaxes, digging would be much easier and faster. At least, it would be much faster than using a sword or a knife. Yi Tianyun was speechless when he saw the pickaxes. We don't need these pickaxes. If you don't need to dig, do you want to dig with a sword or with your hands? Yi Qingxian handed him a pickaxe and said, "Don't look at me like this. I've been raising spirit herbs in the spirit tribe. I have to take care of them every day. I'm very familiar with the pickaxes. You won't be able to dig as fast as me." That's not what I meant. Tianyun shook his head and said with a smile, "Do you believe that I can bring you in instantly? There's no need to dig a tunnel or break through the sacred glyph." I don't believe you. Yi Qingxian shook her head, her eyes full of disbelief. This wall is so thick, and there are sacred glyph on it. How can we go in instantly? Even if we can fly, there needs to be an entrance to enter. What if I go in? Yi Tianyun smiled. If you bring me in like this, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Yi Qingxian snorted. She really didn't believe it. That's fine, you said it yourself. Tianyun smiled. Then close your eyes now and listen to me. Open your eyes when I tell you to. What do you want to do? Yi Qingxian looked at him suspiciously. I don't know what you want to do. All right, I'll close my eyes. If you lie to me, I'll teach you a lesson. After that, she closed her eyes. In the next instant, Yi Tianyun grabbed her shoulders, causing her body to tremble. Why did he suddenly grab her? Could it be Tianyun's eyes flashed, and he disappeared with Yi Qingxian? In the next second, Yi Tianyun appeared inside the city wall. Yi Tianyun teleported to one of the small rooms, which was the guard's lounge. It was right next to the wall, so it was the safest place to hide. That's enough, said Yi Tianyun. Soon after, Yi Qingxian opened her eyes. What entered her eyes was actually a room, and it seemed to be a simple and crude residence. Although she didn't know whose room it was, looking at the wall next to her, she exclaimed in shock, "We're in." She had come in contact with the Netherworld prison before. When the construction was about to start, she came in to take a look. Therefore, she was very clear about the structure inside. She was very clear about where the rooms were and where the prisons were. Now, the situation in this room immediately shocked her. Yes, I've said it before. I brought you in just like that. Yi Tianyun smiled. Teleportation was a trump card, but that was only for the enemy. For his own people, he would use it sooner or later, especially when they were running for their lives. What should be exposed still had to be exposed. Moreover, he didn't really want to use a hoe to dig in. Not only was it a waste of time, but it was also really troublesome. How did you do it? Yi Qingxian was shocked. She couldn't calm down for a long time. This was already beyond her understanding. I don't know how to explain it. In short, it's a secret skill to save my life. I can't use it normally. Yi Tianyun didn't know how to explain it. Teleportation didn't exist here. Does it? Teleportation. Yi Qingxian thought of an ability. Teleportation? Yi Tianyun thought for a while and said, that's more or less the same. You can say that. Teleportation was mainly targeted at those with a physique of the space attribute. It could be used to teleport a short distance. If one's spiritual sense was too weak, they wouldn't be able to detect the trajectory at all. It would be like disappearing into thin air. Therefore, the space attribute physique was especially rare. When one's cultivation was not very high, they could use teleportation. Those who didn't have the space attribute physique could still use the teleportation ability, but relatively speaking, those with the space attribute would be stronger. Not to mention other things, the storage ring that opened up space would have a much larger capacity if it was forged by those with the space attribute physique. This was one of the advantages. Is this a special space attribute physique? Yi Qingxian looked him up and down as if she had seen a ghost. But if it was teleportation, could it teleport such a long distance? Is this very important? Yi Tianyun shrugged helplessly. That's true. As long as it's not an enemy, it's fine. Speaking of which, it's really surprising that you can teleport. But this way, we'll be saved a lot of trouble. Yi Qingxian nodded and quickly took out 2 divine rune talismans from her storage space. These were also master-level divine rune talismans. She handed one to Tianyun and said, stick this divine rune talisman on your body. As long as your cultivation hasn't reached the core transformation stage, it will be very difficult to find us. Okay, no problem. Yi Tianyun took the divine rune and stuck it on his body. Sure enough, as soon as he stuck it on his body, he immediately felt like he was going to disappear. To be precise, he merged with the surrounding environment. From a distance, it was impossible to see anyone standing there. Let's go, follow me. I'm very familiar with the way here. Roughly, the prison is divided into several areas. I think the old ancestor and the others should be imprisoned in the forbidden area. Yi Qingxian explained, the forbidden area can prohibit all spiritual power from entering, so they can't recover. It also prohibits them from using spiritual power. In this way, they don't need to destroy their dantian and can suppress their power. Yi Qingxian was afraid that Yi Tianyun didn't know, so she explained. You're so familiar with this place, why don't you have the key? Yi Tianyun asked. We are very familiar with this place, but only the divine rune is engraved by us. We didn't make the cage, so we don't know the situation of the key. Yi Qingxian felt a little helpless, so we also don't know whether your key is real or not. But since you obtained it from Qing Feng, it is very likely that it is real. Tianyun knew that if it was real, it must be real. This was something that Qing Feng didn't give to him, it must be real. I see, then let's not delay, let's go now. Yi Tianyun nodded. Chapter 310. After they successfully sneaked into the passage, there were no guards around. It's not that the security was not tight enough, but there was no need for it to be so tight. There was only one entrance in the whole area, so there were very few guards. The main thing was to guard the key areas, the other areas didn't need to be guarded at all. Just because the security was not tight, it didn't mean that there were no guards. After they had stealthed for a certain distance, 5 guards quickly walked towards them. Yi Qingxian quickly signaled Yi Tianyun to stop, and then quickly squatted down. In the blink of an eye, she merged with the wall. Unless someone attacked with a weapon, they would never find out that Yi Qingxian was hiding here. Tianyun also squatted down and stuck to the wall, completely disappearing from their line of sight. The concealment divine talisman can't be used to hide people. It's easy to see through it unless the other person's cultivation is too low. But once they squat down and stay still, as long as it's not a very strong core transformation cultivator, they won't be able to detect their existence. The 5 guards passing by were not low cultivation. The leader was a spirit core cultivator, the rest were core condensation cultivators. Basically, there are no guards below core condensation cultivator here, so it's impossible to enter this place with low cultivation. The guards glanced at their surroundings and didn't find anything strange. They continued to patrol and didn't stop at all. Obviously, they didn't notice their existence, so they continued to leave. After they walked far away, Yi Qingxian quickly got up and walked forward with Yi Tianyun. After a few turns, they entered another area, where they can see thick cages made of extremely hard materials. It's very difficult to break them. There are rows of rooms here, in which many cultivators were imprisoned with shackles on their hands and feet. These are not ordinary shackles, they can limit their strength. Even if their cultivation is not low, under these shackles, their strength will be greatly reduced. You dogs of the Netherworld Empire, let us out. If you let us out, your Netherworld Empire will be destroyed sooner or later. Please let me out, I'm willing to do anything for you. Some of the cultivators locked in the cages would rather die than submit, while others kept begging for mercy. They looked quite miserable. Quiet down. Do you want to die? The guard angrily stomped on the cage, causing a dang-dang sound to resound throughout the area. Let us out, you dogs of the Netherworld Empire. One of the cultivators rushed up and laid on the sturdy cage, roaring, You will all die a horrible death. Even if you die, you will never be able to reincarnate. Damn it, then I'll let you die first. The guard did not hesitate to stab the spear in his hand, piercing through the cultivator who had pounced on him. Then, he quickly withdrew his spear. The cultivator's eyes widened as he lay on the ground, twitching non-stop. It seemed that he was not far from death. Who else has any complaints? Speak up. I guarantee that you won't be able to speak for the rest of your lives. The guard glared at them, not caring about their lives at all. All of a sudden, a lot of people's voices weakened. They did not dare to continue to resist. The guards simply wanted to kill them without mercy. I am willing to join the Netherworld Empire. I am willing to serve. One of the core condensation cultivators said while trembling. All right, then you can come out and eat this pill. The guard opened the cage and pulled him out, then handed him a pill and said coldly, I'll eat. The core condensation cultivator quickly swallowed the pill, but who knew that as soon as he swallowed the pill, his body began to twitch and scream. Several dark veins appeared on his body. It seems that he was poisoned. After a while, the guard took out another pill and stuffed it into the cultivator's mouth. Soon, the cultivator recovered and his eyes were filled with fear. This is a temporary antidote pill. If you don't obey, then you will suffer the pain of thousands of insects. You must take it every once in a while, otherwise, you will die. Don't expect to find a real antidote pill, only the Netherworld Empire has this kind of pill. The guard picked him up and threw him to one of his men. "Take him away. It seems that his strength is not bad, let him work in the mine." Of course, if any alchemist really concocted the antidote, then he will not be far from death. Immediately after, the guard coldly looked at the group of cultivators and said, "Are there any of you willing to surrender? Don't worry, no one will save you in this lifetime. If you don't obey our orders, then you can only die here." I am also willing." One of the core condensation cultivators quickly walked over and said, I can forge weapons, can I get better treatment?" "Of course, no problem, I will send you to forge weapons, the treatment is definitely better than those miners." The guard handed him a poison pill and motioned him to swallow it. The blacksmith hesitated for a while, but in the end he still consumed the poisonous pill. Following that, he began to scream in pain, and it was no different from before. After feeling the pain for a while, the guard gave him the antidote pill, temporarily alleviating the invasion of the poison. They first let these prisoners feel the pain, then they will know how powerful the poison is, so that they will not resist. "Take him to the refining room, let him forge weapons." The guard waved his hand and motioned his men to take the prisoner away. "Who else wants to join? If you want to join, take this poison pill. If you don't take it, you can't leave." The guard stared at them and said coldly. Yi Tianyun, who was hiding on the side, saw this scene. This is simply a coercion to force the cultivators to join the Netherworld Empire. These cultivators' cultivation is not low, all of them are at core condensation level, and they have some skills. Yi Tianyun roughly understood that the Netherworld Empire wants to capture a lot of people to work for them, and then use this poison pill to severely restrict them. This kind of overbearing behavior is much faster than slowly training disciples, and the effect is immediate, and there is no way to resist. Resistance is death, anyway, killing them won't waste any of their resources. This Netherworld Empire is really overbearing. As long as they do not obey their orders, they will all die. The Netherworld Empire should be destroyed. Yi Qingxian said coldly. "Yes. Now I have a good way to quickly escape from here." Yi Tianyun said with a smile. "What way?" Yi Qingxian asked. Chapter 311. Release everyone? Yi Qingxian was startled. "That's right, release everyone. This way, everyone will frantically run out and take advantage of the chaos to destroy the Netherworld prison. Let's see how they can still do evil then." Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed and said, "We don't have the keys to the prisons inside, but the guards have the keys to the prisons here. The guards have the keys to the prisons with low cultivation, but they don't have the keys to the prisons with high security. This is a good idea, but if they run around, they will be killed." Yi Qingxian felt that it was a bit cruel. Letting them run out would create chaos, but they would suffer. Their cultivation was not high, and a spirit core stage cultivator could kill them without any resistance. This was undoubtedly very cruel. When did I say that? This is obviously unfair to them. Yi Tianyun shook his head and said, "We must rescue the spirit clan first. If we do it too early, we will alert the enemy. After we solve this problem, we will release all the cultivators. At that time, the Netherworld Empire will have a lot of enemies." Speaking up to here, Yi Tianyun smiled coldly. There were so many cultivators imprisoned here. It was easy to imagine how much resentment they would have towards the Netherworld Empire after they were released from the Netherworld Empire. He could only rescue them, as for what would happen to them later, he couldn't do anything about it. "Okay, let's sneak over there. The forbidden area is this way." Yi Qingxian and Yi Tianyun sneaked over there. The guard was only at the spirit core stage, so even if they sneaked over there, they wouldn't be able to detect anything. It was very smooth, and there was no difficulty at all. They easily sneaked over and entered another corridor. This place was the same as the walkway from before. There were many rooms here that were specially for the guards to stay and cultivate. They usually couldn't go out, so they could only temporarily live here. When they were about to go deeper, the door in front of them suddenly opened, and a spirit core stage cultivator came out. But just after he took a few steps, a red light flashed from the side and entered his chest. "Puchi." The spirit core stage cultivator struggled for a while, and then immediately stopped breathing. "Ding! successfully killed the guard of the Netherworld prison. Reward, 270. 000 EXP, 3,400 Crazy Point, 200 SPs. Reward, Devil Prison Claw, Burst Cut. Reward, Exploding Sword, 1 Recovery Pill. A figure suddenly appeared behind the guard and quickly dragged him into the room. Then, the figure quickly came out and closed the door. After closing the door, the figure immediately went to the wall and quickly hid. Your technique is too good. Yi Qingxian felt a little speechless. This assassination technique can be described as first class. Even she just reacted, Yi Tianyun has already killed the guard. You are too skilled. Yi Qingxian felt a little speechless. Yi Tianyun's assassination skills can be described as first class. Yi Tianyun wanted to kill the 5 patrolling guards before. There are so many rooms here. After killing them, he can drag them into the room to hide. For the time being, he will not be found. But there are a lot of people. He can't guarantee that he can kill all 5 of them at once without making any sound. If they happen to report it and the security suddenly tightened, then their plan would be ruined. If there are only 1 or 2 of them, then it will be much simpler. There will be no chance for them to send a distress signal. No problem. Yi Qingxian nodded. She had the same idea. If Yi Tianyun didn't kill the guard, Yi Qingxian will definitely kill him first. These guards are scum, and each of them is extremely ruthless. It can be seen from the sin value after killing them. They have tortured a lot of cultivators here, so naturally their sin value is high. After planning, they will clear all the way. When they use their spiritual sense to detect the guards inside, they will open the door and kill them. Only in this way, they can escape more easily, and it is more convenient for those cultivators who escaped from the prison. If they are stopped by the guards after a few steps, it is no different from not letting them out. Ready to go to the next area? I don't know what the next area will be like. Yi Qingxian has been here before, but she doesn't know what the next area will be like. After a while, when they just passed through the passage and were about to enter the next passage, they smelled a strong smell of blood coming from inside, followed by continuous screams. They craned their necks to look out. What they saw was that in every cage, there were cultivators being tortured in a frenzy. They were either using some kind of torture device or some kind of poison to constantly corrode their bodies. Yi Tianyun glanced at these cultivators. These cultivators have high and low cultivation. The lowest is not lower than the spirit core stage. The highest is the core transformation stage. There are so many prisoners here. Is it possible that the old ancestor is here? Yi Qingxuan's heart tightened. She glanced at the room in front of her, but she didn't see the room where the old ancestor is. But this didn't make her feel relieved. It can only be said that he is not in this area. But seeing so many people being tortured, her heart tightened. These people of the Netherworld Empire are too cruel. They have been torturing them, and then they will dig out their secrets, or wait until they are extremely weak, then they will use the soul-searching technique. The soul-searching technique is not omnipotent. If the other party's spiritual force is not weak, it is really difficult to find out anything. These bastards. That is the great elder of Chaodon Mansion. That is the elder of Brahma Mansion. And that is the elder of Alchemy Mansion. These are the elders of some famous righteous sects, but they are captured and interrogated. Yi Qingxian bit her lips. She can't wait to rush out and kill them all. Some of the forces have a good relationship with the Spirit Clan, which made her even angrier. At this time, Yi Tianyun reached out his hand and put it on her body. His eyes were also full of killing intent. After we rescue the old ancestor, we will kill our way out and wash the Netherworld prison with blood. But Yi Qingxian nodded heavily. In front of us is the Forbidden Spirit area. We must be imprisoned there. There is no other place to imprison us. Chapter 312. Do you want to accept the temporary side quest of Destroy the Netherworld Prison, Save All Prisoners? When they were about to walk forward, a task popped up, which made him stunned. Temporary side quest? I accept. Yi Tianyun didn't think about it and immediately chose to accept the task. This was what he wanted to do anyway, so this was a quest that he had to do along the way. How could he let go of this random quest? Especially the current task, the reward is absolutely explosive. No matter what, he must accept it. Anyway, if he didn't complete it, there will be no punishment, but he will complete it anyway. How can he let go of the reward? Ding. Successfully accepted the quest, destroy the Netherworld prison and rescue all the prisoners. Reward, 50 million EXP, 10. 000 CPS, 10. 000 SPs, 200 prestige points, 100 commander points. There is no item reward, it's all attribute reward, but this is enough, almost all the attributes increased. Not only the experience is enough, but the other attributes also increased a lot. Overall, it is quite satisfactory. Anyway, it's just a side quest, so it doesn't matter. Not bad, it seems that God wants me to help you clean up. Yi Tianyun sneered. Very quickly, under Yi Qingshuan's lead, they once again passed through the long walkway. Along the way, they cleared out many guards, and the path was completely cleared. Fortunately, there are no generals, otherwise they will be in trouble. Under normal circumstances, General Long and the others would not stay here. Who would come to this prison if they had nothing better to do? In front of us is the forbidden area. Yi Qingshuan's voice became low. Will the forbidden area affect us? Yi Tianyun asked. No, it will only have an effect on those inside the cage. It won't have any effect on those outside. And it has to be combined with the shackles to achieve this effect, so it has nothing to do with us. Yi Qingxian said. Yi Tianyun nodded and walked out with her. When they came to the corner, Tianyun looked from the side, and what he saw was the forbidden spirit area. The layout of this place was no different from the other prison areas. There were sturdy cages in all directions, but this place was filled with divine runes that continuously drained the spiritual energy in this place. It could be said that there was no spiritual power here. If one wanted to recover any spiritual power, there was no way to do so without taking medicinal pills. Inside these cages were people from the spirit race. They were all imprisoned inside, and their faces were haggard. Even though they hadn't experienced any torture, there was no spirit energy here, so it was very damaging to them. With the help of spiritual power, he could persist for a long time without eating or drinking. Now that they didn't even have spiritual power, they looked like they had been sucked dry. They looked haggard, as if they hadn't eaten or drunk for many days. Yi Tianyun scanned the area. There were quite a few astrals imprisoned here. There were at least 100 of them. There weren't that many astrals in the first place, and 100 or so astrals made up a small portion of their population. Of course, that was more than enough. Moreover, they didn't care if they were old or young, sick or weak, they were all imprisoned here. They looked like they were paralyzed in the arms of their clansmen, and they couldn't even speak a word. They weren't jumping around like normal children. All of the astrals looked sickly and lifeless. This was a sign that they were suffering from an extreme lack of spiritual power. I beg you, give the children something to eat. They can't hold on for much longer. Some of the astrals began to plead. They weren't asking for food for themselves, but for the children. They could continue to hold on, but the children couldn't. Their cultivation was too low, so they couldn't hold on for long like adults. Haha, do you want to eat? The guard took some food and waved it in front of them. The eyes of the children in their parents' arms flashed with desire, but they didn't move and continued to lie in their parents' arms. After waving the food in front of them, the guard took a bite and sneered. If you want to eat, then obediently join our Netherworld Empire and work for us. The spirit race looked at their children and opened their mouths to say something. However, their children tugged at them and said, Father, Mother, don't beg them. We can still persevere. We believe that the Saintess will come back to save us. Children. They didn't want their children to submit to the Netherworld Empire, but if they continued like this, their children would die. Even if the Saintess came, it wouldn't make any difference. When the guard saw that they were indifferent, he angrily stepped on the cage and said, You have a backbone. He merely let out an angry roar and threw the food in his hand to the side. His face was filled with rage. Lord Su, please calm down. They will soon compromise. The guard next to him comforted him. I hope so. They don't want to compromise and they don't want to take the poison pill. If I didn't have the key, I would have dragged them out and beat them up. If this goes on, how can we make them surrender? Su Chang's face was full of worry. He came here to threaten them, but he couldn't rush in and torture them. He didn't have the key, so how could he open the door and enter? Don't worry, when General Long comes, he will truthfully report what happened here, and then we will drag them out. Especially those children, I don't believe that they won't compromise. They sneered. As long as they control those children, they won't be afraid that they won't compromise. That makes sense. They've been trapped in there for too long. We don't know how the poison is doing on the other side, and if we can get any information out of them. Su Chang shook his head. I'll go over and ask about the situation. Yes, Lord Su. When they were about to turn around and leave, a cold light quietly appeared behind them. Red light and silver light flashed, and then Su Chang and the guard fell to the ground. The guard next to them looked over and found that there were two people in front of him. You are Pucci. Before they could finish their words, a figure had already flashed beside them. Under the flashing of red light, they all fell to the ground with their eyes wide open. They didn't know what happened, but they completely lost their consciousness. At this time, the people in front of them were Yi Qingxian and Yi Tianyun. Their eyes were full of anger. Taking advantage of the moment when they were distracted, they suddenly launched a sneak attack and killed them perfectly. Chapter 3:13. In their moment of despair, a familiar figure appeared in front of them. There was another figure, which was also deeply imprinted in their eyes. Looking at them now, their figures were so tall and imposing. Holy Maiden is here to save us. It's really Holy Maiden. There's another human? Pussy. Great, Holy Maiden is finally here to save us. They used the last of their strength to climb up, looking at Yi Qingxian and Yi Qingxian with eyes full of hope. Shu, don't talk, lest we attract the other guards. Yi Qingxian gestured for them to not speak loudly. In fact, they could not even speak loudly. It was already good enough that they could climb up. How could they have the strength to speak loudly? They all nodded, indicating that they understood, and kept quiet, not daring to speak. Yi Qingxian nodded at Yi Tianyun, indicating for him to open the door, otherwise they would not be able to save them. We must succeed to open the door. Yi Qingxian prayed softly. She did not want everything to be destroyed here. They had already succeeded in sneaking in, and now there was only the last step left. She did not want to fail on the verge of success. They had worked so hard to get to this step only to fail. How tragic would that be? Don't worry, we won't fail. Yi Tianyun patted her shoulder, then took out the prison key from his inventory. The prison key did not look complicated, just like a badge. Only by embedding it could the prison door be opened. After he took it out, he directly embedded it. With a ding, the badge was firmly embedded. Then, with a creaking sound, the door slowly opened to the side, revealing a gap. When Yi Qingxian saw this, her heart almost flew out of her chest. They could really open the door. It really can be opened. Yi Qingshuan's heart was finally half relieved. This was just the beginning. Only after saving them and bringing them out could it be considered a perfect ending. Yi Tianyun also wanted to bring them out, but using teleportation was impossible. He could bring one or two people, but there were hundreds of people here, so he could not do it at all. I told you I could open it. There's no need to worry at all. Yi Tianyun wasn't worried at all. He quickly pushed the door open and motioned for the spirit race to come out. Their eyes sparkled as they looked at him, burning Yi Tianyun's figure into their minds. Their favorability towards him soared. There was no better way to help someone than to send charcoal in a snowy day. The way Yi Tianyun had opened the door for them had increased their favorability towards him. When they came out, Yi Tianyun took out a lot of medicinal pills and handed them to them, saying, "Take these medicinal pills, it will help you recover your spiritual power quickly." He still had a lot of pills. After robbing so many people's treasures, he would more or less have a lot of pills in stock. It was a pity that he didn't gain much experience after taking them, so he could only keep them. He didn't expect these recovery pills to be so useful here. Thank you. They were all very grateful and quickly took the pills. After giving them to the children, they took them themselves. In an instant, their condition was much better. Although they didn't completely recover, at least they were more energetic than before. They even had the strength to speak. Spiritual power was the foundation of their cultivation, so after recovering, they looked much more energetic. After doing this, their favorability towards him skyrocketed, causing him to be stunned. In just 2 short actions, their favorability towards him had soared past 100. Helping in a desperate situation naturally increased their favorability. Good lad, looks like you are quite sensible. This way, they will be very supportive of you becoming the Spirit King. Yi Qingxian transmitted her voice to Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders helplessly. When he did this, he didn't think too much. He just felt that they needed medicinal pills to replenish their spiritual power, especially the children. He didn't expect that he would increase their favorability by so much. This was unexpected, but after thinking about it carefully, it was very normal for such a situation to occur. Then, he helped to undo the shackles on their bodies. They only needed the badge to open them, so he didn't need to do much. With a light touch, he removed the divine patterns on them, and the shackles were easily unlocked. Saintess, the old ancestor has been taken over there, and we don't know what's going on. Hurry up and save him, one of the Spirit Clan members hurriedly said. We will go over now. You guys stay here for the time being. Recover your bodies, and we will take you away later, Yi Qingxian ordered. They all nodded, then squatted down nearby to check the situation. As long as it wasn't a very strong guard, they could easily deal with it in their current state. The 2 of them looked at each other, then quickly rushed forward. After turning a few corners, they heard a cold scolding. Old man, I didn't expect you to be so stubborn. Even with such a strong poison, you didn't lose consciousness. As expected of the old ancestor of the Spirit Clan. Your cultivation is high, but in front of me, aren't you still at my mercy? When they looked over, they immediately saw an old man nailed to the wall. His body was pitch black, and he was constantly trembling. However, there was no sign of pain in his eyes. Everything was so calm and peaceful. Feng Wuyun, just give up. I can't let you find out the secret of the Spirit Clan. Do you think this poison can make me lose consciousness and let you search my soul? You are too naive. The Spirit Clan old ancestor snorted coldly. His tone was not very calm, but it was obvious that he could still hold on. His cultivation was at the Void Spirit stage, or rather, it should be said that he used to be at the Spirit King stage, but because of his old age, his cultivation had declined. However, he was still an amazing existence. If he hadn't been plotted against, how could he have fallen to this point? It was easy to dodge an arrow in the open, but difficult to guard against an arrow in the dark. No matter how high one's cultivation was, there was a corresponding way to restrain it. What a joke! Let's see how long you can hold on. Feng Wuyun sneered, then took out a bottle of poison and was about to pour it into the Spirit Clan old ancestor's mouth. Feng Wuyun, how dare you! At this time, Yi Qingxian quickly rushed out and stood outside the cage, looking at Feng Wuyun coldly. Feng Wuyun and the Spirit Race Patriarch were both locked in the cage. Not to mention the Spirit Race Patriarch, even Feng Wuyun could not come out. He stayed in there to steal their memories. If he wanted to come out, he would have to wait for General Long to open the door. Chapter 3:14. If they want to save people, they have to open the door. No matter how fast they open the door, they will be seen. But there is no one around, so even if they are exposed, there is no problem. They are just afraid of releasing a distress signal. When Feng Wuyun saw Yi Qingxian, he was startled at first, then he smiled and said, Oh, I was wondering who it was, so it is the Saintess. I didn't expect you to sneak in, you have some skill. You also have a human with you, it seems like you found a helper. Saintess. When the Spirit Race ancestor saw Yi Qingxian, he hurriedly said, Quickly leave, you can't open this door, quickly leave, he will inform General Long later. Tikiske, what's the rush? I am not in a rush to inform General Long. Feng Wuyun took out a jade pendant and said with sneer, As long as I crush this jade pendant, all the guards of the Netherworld prison will be mobilized. You will not be able to escape even if you have wings. But there is no rush, I will play with you first, let you see this old man's painful expression, it is very fun. Feng Weiyun laughed loudly and prepared to pour poison into the spirit race ancestor's mouth. "Stop, you traitor!" Yi Qingxian hurriedly shouted. Feng Weiyun is an elder of the spirit race. He betrayed the spirit race together with Lei Yun. He is here to search the spirit race ancestor's memories. But he has not succeeded, so he can only slowly poison the spirit race ancestor to weaken his mental power. But he is too strong. The poison has not weakened even after so long. If his mental power is too strong, using the soul-searching technique will instead cause him to become a fool. "Stop? If you want me to stop, come in if you have the ability," Feng Weiyun said with a very despicable smile. "You can't come in, right? You don't even have the key. How can you come in? So what if you have the key? As long as I crush this jade pendant, don't talk about saving people, you will not be able to escape." Ha! He laughed heartily. He felt that everything was so laughable. He felt that everything they had done was futile. They can only watch helplessly as they torture the spirit race ancestor, unable to save him. This twisted thinking is disgusting. "Who said we can't come in?" A silhouette appeared behind him and grabbed his arm that was holding the jade pendant. With a quick pull, the entire arm was broken. Following that, the jade pendant fell to the ground and was caught by Yi Tianyun. Immediately after, he fiercely kicked Feng Weiyun. With a dong sound, Feng Weiyun was sent flying into the wall, and a large part of his body caved in. This kick was so fast that it almost killed him. If not for the fact that Feng Weiyun's cultivation was higher, he would have been kicked to death. Tianyun really wants to kick him to death with this cheap look. Ah! Feng Weiyun's face was pale. Looking at Yi Tianyun, he revealed a terrified expression. "You? How did you get in?" Yi Qingxian and the old ancestor of the spirit tribe were shocked. They didn't see what was going on, but Yi Tianyun had already entered. Yi Qingxian remembered that Yi Tianyun could teleport, but could teleportation be used in this cage? This cage was restricted by the divine runes, so teleportation was impossible. However, Tianyun did it. He easily entered and even seriously injured Feng Weiyun with a kick. Yi Tianyun's mental energy is very strong. As long as he can see the situation inside with his naked eye, he can teleport in, ignoring the restrictions of the divine runes. If he didn't know the situation and structure inside, he really wouldn't be able to teleport in. As long as he can see clearly and know the situation inside, he can teleport in. To put it bluntly, as long as he has a fixed position, he can teleport in. "How can I come in? I just walked in." Yi Tianyun looked at him coldly. Immediately after, he took out the emblem and flicked it outside. It fell into Yi Qingxuan's hand. After receiving it, Yi Qingxian immediately inserted it into the groove and successfully opened the cage. This key was universal and could be used to open all the cages in the Spirit Forbidden Zone. The rest couldn't be opened. "You still have the key? Could it be that General Long?" Feng Weiyun looked at the key in Yi Qingxuan's hand in shock. He couldn't believe that it would appear in their hands. There are only two keys, one is in the hands of the Netherworld Emperor, and the other is in the hands of General Long. The Netherworld Emperor was killed, which is impossible. From the looks of it, General Long must have been killed. This is just wishful thinking on his part. The thing that the system dropped is equivalent to the third key. Under normal circumstances, there are only two keys. In the next moment, Feng Weiyun slapped the ground with one hand and his whole body swept to the side. He flew towards the exit. Yi Tianyun's speed is faster than him. He blocked Feng Weiyun with one hand and kicked him. Feng Weiyun was kicked away like a ball. Feng Weiyun's cultivation is not low. He is at the 5th level of the core transformation stage. However, in front of Yi Tianyun, he is too weak. "Where do you want to go?" Yi Tianyun picked up the poison that fell on the ground. He grabbed Feng Weiyun and poured the poison into his mouth. "Enjoy this poison. Feel how strong it is." As soon as the poison entered his stomach, Feng Weiyun screamed in pain. He grabbed his head and twisted it. It was as if something has pierced his head. The old ancestor of the spirit race can still speak normally. One can imagine how strong his willpower is. As an old ancestor of the spirit race, he has experienced too many things. He can endure this little pain. Most importantly, he knows that he can't relax. If the secret is exposed, It is equivalent to half of the spirit race being destroyed. Qingxian, how do we deal with him? Yi Tianyun asked. Yi Qingxian had already used her actions to answer. She took out her silver whip and fiercely lashed at Feng Wuyun's body. With a pa sound, the tyrannical silver whip hit Feng Wuyun. Ice instantly froze his body, and after a few consecutive lashes, Feng Wuyun's skin and flesh were lacerated. However, he was not lashed to death. She used the silver whip to bind him, making him unable to move. After 2 strikes from Yi Tianyun, Feng Wuyun was seriously injured and unable to move. Yi Tianyun's moves are getting more and more skillful. After 2 strikes, Feng Wuyun's bones have been shattered. Feng Wuyun can't move anymore. After a few more strikes from Yi Qingxian, Feng Wuyun is on the verge of death. Chapter 315. Ancestor, how do you feel now? After the elder ancestor was put down, he was still able to look at them with a calm gaze. This was already quite impressive. It's fine. Hurry up and leave this place. If you continue to stay here, it will be troublesome if you are discovered. The old ancestor's words were intermittent and weak. It was already amazing that he could even speak. If it was any other cultivator, they would have been dead by now. The reason why the ancestor could hold on for so long was because of his cultivation and mental power. But ancestor, Yi Qingxian couldn't let the ancestor go. I can't hold on any longer. It's useless to save me. Just give me a quick death so that I can have some dignity. The ancestor said with a kind smile. He felt that he couldn't hold on any longer. After being tortured for so long, the poison had already taken root in his body. Even if he left this place, he wouldn't be able to live for long. How is that possible? We just need to find a good alchemist to get rid of the poison. Yi Qingxian shook her head. She didn't want to abandon the ancestor. This is a special poison pill from the Netherworld Empire. There is no antidote for it. It's very difficult to find an antidote for it. The ancestor shook his head. The recipe for this kind of poison pill was usually in the hands of the most important people. It was very difficult to get it back. Yi Qingxuan's eyes turned red. This ancestor had been taking care of her for a long time. He was like her family. How could she give him up like this? That's right. Feng Wuyun must have an antidote pill on him. Yi Qingxian quickly got up and went to Feng Wuyun's storage ring. She took it off and searched for the antidote pill inside the storage ring. Soon she found the antidote pill. However, it wasn't a pill that could completely remove the poison. It was just a temporary antidote pill. Ha! You want an antidote pill? Impossible. You think that's an antidote pill? That's just my antidote pill. That old man is dead. Feng Wuyun laughed bitterly. He knew that he was going to die, but he didn't want to let them live a good life. This antidote pill was Feng Wuyun's own antidote pill. It was a temporary antidote for the poison pills that were controlled by him. Obviously, Feng Wuyun was also controlled by him. He didn't completely trust him. Where is the antidote pill? Yi Qingxian grabbed Feng Wuyun and made him tell her where the antidote pill was. Cough, cough, cough. The real antidote formula is with the Imperial Preceptor. If you have the ability, then snatch it, ha. Otherwise, this old fellow is dead for sure. Feng Wuyun was not stingy at all in revealing the secret, he just wanted them to die. One could well imagine how powerful the Imperial Advisor was. He was definitely in existence even more powerful than General Long. If one were to recklessly go and seize the pill recipe, it would be a dead end. Moreover, the state preceptor usually stayed in the capital of the Netherworld, where the security was the strictest. In addition, the state preceptor was extremely strong, so it was tantamount to sending a sheep into a tiger's mouth. Don't worry, let me see what kind of poison it is. Yi Tianyun extracted a bit of blood from the old ancestor's wound and used the appraisal eye to analyze the poison within. Very quickly, the poison was analyzed. This situation was the same as what had happened to Institute Lordly. Both of them had been poisoned, and he had used the appraisal eye to analyze it. Then, he was able to concoct the perfect antidote. Not long after the analysis, a message popped up. Unable to analyze the poison. This Yi Tianyun suddenly knows that the poison is more difficult to analyze. He's afraid that it's a higher level spirit medicine, so the appraisal eye can't analyze it. Upgrade the appraisal eye. Without hesitation, he chose to upgrade the appraisal eye. Now that the appraisal eye was only at level 2, it was necessary to upgrade it. Ding! Consumed 500,000 crazy point. Successfully upgraded appraisal eye to level 3. The next level requires 10 million crazy point. Ding! Appraisal eye upgraded to level 3. Additional class, race details added. Analysis of martial art, divine rune, great array, pill leveled up. The speed of inspection increased by 100%. After successfully upgrading the appraisal eye, whether it was the speed or the recognition rate, all of a sudden improved. Ding! Successfully identified the poison effect. The poison pill name is Soul Devouring Pill. The materials are 50g of love flower, 50g of human face grass, 50g of heart eroding grass. Everything was analyzed one by one. The analysis speed was quite amazing. More detailed data was presented in front of him, so that he knew all the ingredients. Very good, I roughly understand. Yi Tianyun nodded, then quickly took out the purple fire divine furnace and prepared to start refining. Although the situation is urgent now, but old ancestor's poison is even more urgent. If he continues to rush, he won't be able to hold on for too long. He rummaged for a while and quickly found some elixirs, preparing to start refining. These miscellaneous spirit herbs, he can't say that they are very complete, but at least some of them are just right. Only a small part is in line. First I will refine a poison relief pill to make old ancestor a little more comfortable. Yi Tianyun took out a pile of spirit herbs, threw them in, and activated crazy alchemy mode. Suddenly the speed of refining increased. After a while, it doesn't take too long for the pill to be successfully refined. It's done. Yi Tianyun took out the antidote pill from the purple fire divine furnace and gave it to Yi Qingxian. Let the ancestor consume it. This is a temporary relief. If you want to really cure the poison, the number of spirit medicines is not enough. After we go, we will completely clear the poison in the ancestor's body. Impossible. How do you know the pill formula? Could it be that you casually refined it? Haha. If we were to casually refine an antidote pill, not only would we not be able to save this old fellow, we would instead cause his death. Even though Feng Wuyun was heavily injured and unable to move, he did not forget to ridicule him. Yi Qingxian did not hesitate. She picked up the pill and fed it to the ancestor. The ancestor didn't say anything more and just ate it. Since he was going to die anyway, so what if he was trying to save a dead horse? After the ancestor consumed it, his complexion quickly improved, and the black qi on his body began to be suppressed. His originally trembling body greatly improved, and he no longer continued to tremble. I feel that my condition is much better. The feeling of my soul being torn apart has slowed down a lot. This was not nonsense. His tone could be heard. It had become very stable. Feng Wuyun, who was at the side, was dumbfounded. He did not expect it to really work. It's good that there's no problem. Qingxian, prepare to escape with the ancestor. I'll be in charge of opening the way. Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice. Chapter 316. After the spirit race old ancestor took the detoxification pill, he felt much better. If it weren't for his severe injuries, he would have been able to move. As for Feng Wuyun, before they left, Yi Qingxian personally killed the traitor. Yi Qingxian spared his life because she wanted to ask him some questions. Since she couldn't get anything out of him, the traitor must die. Ding! Successfully killed Feng Wuyun. Reward, 370,000 EXP for 500 crazy point, 250 SBS, 1500 divine rune proficiency points. Obtained martial art heavenly spirit step, spirit breaking finger. Obtained soul breaking pen, high-grade soul tool, tyrant rune paper, rare. He didn't need to kill Feng Wuyun. Yi Tianyun can get EXP. He had already calculated this, so when Yi Qingxian killed the traitor, he activated the crazy EXP mode. This bit of experience couldn't be wasted. Many a little makes a mickle. This tyrant rune paper is really a lot. I can use it to open a path. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. He has obtained this tyrant rune paper, but he didn't use it much. This is a rare item. He didn't pay much attention to it before, but now after a little check, he was immediately shocked. Tyrant rune paper greatly increases the success rate of carving and triples the effect. It's a very simple and crude effect, especially the triples effect, which is unimaginable in the divine rune world. They are all based on how much it can be enhanced, not how many times it can be enhanced. How many times stronger would it be? The higher the grade of the divine imprint, the stronger the effect. It's just that the difficulty is amazing. Yun carved 4 divine runes before, the difficulty has increased by leaps and bounds. These require a high level of proficiency to carve, otherwise, it's impossible to carve. Now this tyrant rune paper is so simple and crude, no matter what kind of divine rune is carved, it directly increases the effect by 3 times. No wonder it's called a rare item. This tyrant rune paper is enough to set off a bloody storm in the divine rune world. Immediately, he took out a piece of tyrant rune paper and carved divine rune on it. The difficulty is not high, it's just a 3rd grade divine rune. But he didn't just carve, he carves multiple divine runes. The most important thing was that he was drawing as he walked, not wasting any time at all. Are you inscribing injury-type divine inscriptions? Yi Qingxian was stunned. Inscribing injury-type divine inscriptions at this moment? The spirit race patriarch next to him was already able to walk. He might not be able to run, but at least he could walk. When he saw Yi Tianyun inscribing divine runes on his back, he took a quick glance. Yes, I don't have any divine runes on my weapon, so I want to draw a damage-type divine rune to increase its effects. Yi Tianyun wanted to stick this damage rune on the frost divine bow. This way, he would be able to greatly increase the damage. Attacking from afar was better than attacking from close range. This way, he could kill everything in an instant from such a distance. It was definitely a great weapon to open up a path. Do you want us to wait for you? Yi Qingxian asked. There's no need for that. I'll finish it quickly. In the next moment, Yi Tianyun immediately activated Crazy Divine Rune Mode, instantly increasing the speed of drawing by 8 times. Berserk Mode was able to enhance almost all situations. Other than a few, it was able to enhance most situations. Regardless of whether it was inscribing divine imprints, forging, or concocting pills, the speed would be increased by 8 times. Swish! In an instant, he grabbed the soul-breaking brush that had dropped earlier and started drawing at an extremely fast speed. This left them dumbfounded. This speed was simply too fast. In the blink of an eye, a 3rd grade damage-type divine rune was completed. However, this was not the end. He continued to draw. In the blink of an eye, the 3rd grade divine rune had been added to the list. Following that, he continued to draw the 2nd level. He drew circle after circle, faster and faster. Moreover, his success rate was not a problem at all. In just a short while, he had reached the 5th level of the 3rd grade divine rune. He was preparing to draw the 6th level. When they saw this, they could not help but gasp. Even if it was so fast, the success rate was so stable? The answer was so stable. With the heaven-defying effects of the tyrant rune paper, the success rate was quite shocking. Even when drawing the 6th level, he still had an 80% success rate. It was quite heaven-defying. Previously, the success rate was 100%. From now on, it was only dropping. He's already at the 6th level. The difficulty is no less than that of a Grandmaster-level divine rune, right? Yi Qingxian was somewhat speechless. Yes, where did this young friend come from? He has reached such a level at such a young age. Even our spirit race is inferior to him. The spirit race patriarch's eyes flashed with a strange light. What? It's a long story. Yi Qingxian did not know where to start. If he could get the patriarch's help, the position of Spirit King would be much easier. Yes, this young friend is not bad. It would be great if he was from our spirit race. The spirit race patriarch shook his head. Just as he was about to say something, he discovered that Yi Tianyun had successfully inscribed the 6th level of the divine rune. He was preparing to continue with the 7th level. There were a total of 9 levels of divine runes. This was the same principle as alchemy. There were a total of 9 levels, and the higher the level, the more difficult it was. Now that he was already at the 7th level, the success rate had dropped to 50%. Originally, he wanted to use the Heaven's Eye to increase the success rate, but after thinking about it, he gave up. Forget it, I'll go with the 6th level. The bonus is enough. Only then did Yi Tianyun stop. Both of them heaved a sigh of relief. If he could continue to inscribe, it would be really powerful. Even the Spirit Race Patriarch would find it difficult to successfully inscribe the 7th level of a 3rd-grade divine rune. 6 levels of 3rd-grade divine runes. This is already heaven-defying. There's a 70% bonus effect. Yi Qingxian exclaimed. The Patriarch beside her also agreed. He felt that this was already very heaven-defying. Yi Tianyun smiled and did not say anything. Under normal circumstances, there was indeed a 70% bonus effect. However, with the addition of the Tyrant rune paper, it became a 1% bonus. He took out the Ice Divine Bow and stuck the Tyrant rune paper on it. The divine runes quickly merged with the bow. Combined with the previous double damage effect, it became a quadruple damage increase. Let's go. I'll lead the way. Yi Tianyun nodded and walked forward with them. Just after they turned a corner, they heard the sound of fighting coming from the front. They were shocked and quickly rushed over. They were shocked to see the guards fighting with the Spirit Race. The Spirit Race was barely able to resist, but there was no way they could fight back. At this time, Yi Tianyun's eyes were cold, and he quickly raised the Ice Divine Bow in his hand and pulled it, and 3 arrows shot out. The arrows pierced the 3 guards in front of him and nailed them to the wall. Then, they were quickly frozen, and they couldn't be more dead. He didn't even need to get close before he was nailed to the wall by the Ice Frost Divine Bow. The tyrannical power was unstoppable. Go! Yi Tianyun didn't stop and continued to lead them forward. When they arrived at the area where they were tortured, many guards looked over and were shocked by the situation. However, what greeted them was a cold arrow that nailed them to the wall. Call for help. Regardless of whether they tried to escape or rush over to resist, it was all meaningless. He could kill them one by one just by standing at the entrance of the passageway. Combined with his powerful mental power, no one could dodge his attacks, and he would definitely hit his target. After killing them, Yi Tianyun quickly searched for the keys on their bodies and released all the cultivators from the prison one by one. All the Spirit Race cultivators came to help Yi Tianyun. He rescued all the cultivators here and fed them medicinal pills to recover their strength. Thank you. Thank you. They were so grateful that they were about to cry. After being tortured for so long, they were finally freed. No need to thank me, let's rush out together. We haven't really escaped from here yet, so it's still dangerous. Yi Tianyun said to them. After they recovered their mobility, because they were tortured for so long, it was not convenient for them to move, but they could still follow behind Yi Tianyun. We know, at least there is hope, right? As long as we can escape, I will destroy the Netherworld Empire. Yes. Even if I die, I will fight against the Netherworld Empire until the end. When I was captured and tortured here, I thought that as long as I can get out of here, I will fight against the Netherworld Empire for the rest of my life. They were filled with righteous indignation and decided to fight against the Netherworld Empire for the rest of their lives. They had been tortured here for so long. If they had provoked the Netherworld Empire before, it would have been fine. But some of them had done nothing and were forced to come here. How could they not be angry? All right, let's get out of here and save all the people who are imprisoned here, Tianyun said. All of them nodded to show that they would follow his orders. There were many cultivators who were at the core transformation stage, but they had been tortured for so long and they were poisoned, so they couldn't even use half of their cultivation. But from the beginning, Yi Tianyun didn't use them as the main force. He just needed to rely on himself to get out of here. Following that, a group of people rushed out in a grandiose manner. As long as they saw a guard, they would shoot an arrow at it without saying a word, killing the guard. Soon, they arrived at the prison area. When they arrived, they could still hear angry roars from inside. You dogs of the Netherworld Empire. If I don't die, I will kill you all. Hee hee, you won't have this chance. Who can come here and save you? But don't think too much, I will kill you now, let's see how you get back at me. At this time, a figure appeared in the passage, followed by an ice arrow that nailed them to the ground or the wall. What's going on? When they saw a group of people rushing towards them, they were scared. How could so many people be released? By the time they reacted, it was already too late. They had completely bid farewell to this world. Open the cage here and let everyone out. Yi Tianyun said to the people who were dragged out of the prison. There were a lot of people in this prison, so it would take a long time for Yi Tianyun to open the cage alone. After they realized what was going on, they quickly found the keys from the guard's body and began to open the door. After the door was opened, the people inside rushed out and looked at Yi Tianyun with extreme gratitude. Thank you so much for your help, big hero. I am Wang Hu. My life is yours now. I will listen to your instructions from now on. Me too. My life is yours from now on. I will do whatever you want me to do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Many people were so grateful to Wang Hu that they didn't know what to say. You don't need to thank me too much for now. We haven't completely escaped from here yet. Let's kill our way out. Yi Tianyun shouted. Kill our way out. Chapter 318. Yi Tianyun didn't say anything. After all the cultivators were rescued, they rushed out of the prison. Fortunately, these guards were not very flexible in reporting the situation. Obviously, they were in a safe state, so they didn't have any jade pendants with them. Therefore, they couldn't call for help in time. When the guards inside the Netherworld prison noticed them, they rushed out crazily. However, no matter how strong they were still at the core transformation stage. What's going on? Are they all released? In the hall outside the Netherworld prison, many guards were stunned when they saw a large group of cultivators rushing out of the Netherworld prison. They never thought that a group of cultivators would rush out of the Netherworld prison like this. Catch them all. We can't let them escape. Whoever resists will die. Whoever dares to resist will die. Inform the general, there is an emergency in the Netherworld prison. There were core transformation stage cultivators in the prison, and some of them were even the ministers in charge of the prison. They immediately took out their jade pendants and crushed them to send out a distress signal. Obviously, General Long wasn't here. If he had nothing to do, he wouldn't be here. Moreover, the Netherworld Empire had a lot of other things to deal with in addition to the spirit race, so there were a lot of things that they couldn't deal with. 3 core transformation stage powerhouses quickly rushed out and took out their most powerful weapons and attacked Yi Tianyun fiercely. All of a sudden, they burst out with their strongest power. The murderous aura filled the entire hall. Many cultivators' faces changed dramatically. They felt very helpless in the face of core transformation stage cultivators. If they resisted, it would be a one-sided slaughter. While everyone's hearts were trembling, the 3 arrows had already pierced through their bodies in the blink of an eye, sending them flying backward. 2 of them were nailed to the wall, the cold air constantly eroding their bodies, freezing them up and rendering them unable to move at all. The other one was wearing a hard armor, so the arrow didn't penetrate his body. However, the impact of the arrow still sent him flying. He vomited blood and the cold air invaded his body, greatly reducing his movement speed. But before he could get up, an ice arrow pierced through his body and nailed him to the wall. His eyes widened as he stared at Yi Tianyun. He didn't expect Yi Tianyun's attack to be so casual. After all, he was wearing a high-grade soul armor and was even reinforced with powerful divine imprints. Yet he was still pierced through. The way he looked at Yi Tianyun gradually became blurry, and then he completely lost consciousness. Yi Tianyun looked at them coldly. If 1 arrow wasn't enough, then 2 arrows would be fired. After the Frost Divine Bow was imbued with the damage rune, it became 4 times the damage. He didn't even need to activate the crazy damage mode to be able to instantly kill everything. Just a casual arrow shot by him would have a battle prowess as high as 10 million. It was unstoppable. This scene shocked a lot of people. Before Yi Tianyun killed a core condensation stage cultivator, the strongest spirit core stage cultivator, it was still acceptable for him to be instantly killed. Such a powerful core transformation stage cultivator was also killed by a single arrow. It was not difficult at all. This caused them to be dumbfounded. This was really killing gods and Buddhas if they encountered gods and Buddhas. What a terrifying power. With him here, how can we not escape? Yes, with this great hero here, we can definitely escape. All of them were excited, and the hope in their hearts was burning. They felt that they could get out of this damned place and successfully escape. They thought so, and so did Yi Tianyun. With his current overbearing power, as long as it wasn't a void spirit stage cultivator, he could easily kill them. Then Yi Tianyun continued to madly kill the guards. He shot a few arrows at them, and all of them were pierced by the arrows. The most shocking thing was that he quickly swept over and put away the storage rings they were wearing. This made Yi Qingxian, who was at the back, roll her eyes. This guy doesn't forget to make money. Core transformation stage cultivator's net worth is not bad. How can he miss this opportunity? The old ancestor of the spirit race couldn't help but smile. He admired Yi Tianyun's action very much. If I were him, I would also do the same. Cultivation needs a lot of resources. How can he waste them? Well, Yi Qingxian certainly didn't have any objection to Yi Tianyun's action. The problem was that in such an urgent situation, Yi Tianyun still didn't forget to make money. Yi Tianyun doesn't want to do this. If he wasn't so poor, and running a sect requires too many resources, he certainly wouldn't let go of any opportunity to get resources. Each and every core transformation stage cultivator was fat, so naturally, he wouldn't miss this opportunity. Along the way, Yi Tianyun and Yi Qingxian quickly killed their way to the exit. There weren't many guards at the exit. When they saw Yi Tianyun and Yi Qingxian rushing towards them, their faces changed, and they quickly prepared to block their attacks. However, they were too weak, so they were easily killed by Yi Tianyun and Yi Qingxuan's arrows. The gate is in front of us. We can go out as soon as we open the gate. Yi Tianyun shouted and took the lead to rush towards the gate. He opened the gate and pushed it open with all his might. The gate made a loud noise and began to open bit by bit. It had to be said that this thing was really heavy, and it took a lot of effort to push it open. Let's hurry and help the big hero open the gate. With a roar, they quickly rushed over and pushed the door open. With the help of many people, the speed of opening the gate suddenly increased a lot. When a big gap appeared, all the cultivators rushed out as if they saw the light of hope. We finally came out. We finally came out. After rushing out, they shouted loudly, greedily breathing the outside air, feeling that everything was so beautiful. It should be said that living was so beautiful. When a group of people swarmed out at the same time, there was a roar coming from inside. Roar, roar, roar. It was like a dragon's roar, coming from the innermost part of the prison. Soon, the ground shook, as if a huge monster rushed out from inside. Go, go! Yi Qingxian commanded her people to escape from the back. There were too many people here. All the prisoners added up to thousands of people, so it was difficult to evacuate too quickly. At this time, a few huge beasts suddenly rushed out from the passage behind them. They looked like dragons, but they didn't have wings. Their bodies were covered in thick dragon scales, which looked very hard. They strode forward with their huge bodies and crazily pounced over. They were like a small mountain, stomping over fiercely. Earth dragon, it's an earth dragon. Chapter 319. The earth dragon was a demonic beast with the bloodline of the dragon clan, but it couldn't fly. It was mainly known for its strong defense, coupled with its huge physique. It was absolutely amazing when it fought. In addition, its cultivation was not weak. All of them were spirit core stage demonic beasts. Although it couldn't defeat a core transformation stage cultivator, it could at least resist. The 3 earth dragons were released, and they roared and rushed over. It was obvious that they had entered the killing mode regardless of the consequences. It was better to kill them all than to let them run away. Hurry up! Yi Qingxuan's face changed, and she signaled the clansmen in front of her to leave quickly. Seeing that almost all of her clansmen had left, there was still a small number of them who were a little slower. But the earth dragons had already rushed over, so they couldn't leave so fast. At this moment, she quickly took out several explosive flame talismans and threw them at the first earth dragon. They floated in the air for a while and stuck to its body. Boom! A burst of flame exploded on the earth dragon's body, and it was immediately blackened, but it didn't die. Only a small part of the dragon's scales was blown away, and a little blood flowed down. It was a minor injury. A terrifying defensive power immediately appeared. It could be seen just how heaven-defying its defensive power was. It was completely a moving shield. The power of these explosive flame divine talismans was not weak. Several of them were superimposed together, and the violent attack of at least a core transformation stage cultivator could only hurt the earth dragon's skin. Huh? You want to hurt the earth dragon with these explosive flame divine talismans? You are too naive. Crush them for me. There were 3 spirit core stage cultivators behind him, and they commanded the earth dragons to rush over and suppress the fugitives. It's the dragon soldier. Many people exclaimed when they saw the cultivators wearing dragon armor. This dragon soldier was the direct troops of General Long, and there was a team of troops that controlled the earth dragons. When they attacked any forces, they couldn't stop them at all. Every dragon soldier was equipped with an earth dragon, and it was absolutely an invincible army. Although the earth dragon was not a real divine beast, its terrifying defense was comparable to the real dragon clan. The most important thing was that there were enough of them, and their reproductive ability was much stronger than that of real dragons. Therefore, their numbers were not particularly rare, but the price was still extremely high. Only the Netherworld Empire could form a group of dragon army. Under the control of the dragon army, they could crush everything. There weren't many dragon soldiers that rushed up, only 3, but this was already very shocking. They didn't need to be very powerful, just purely crushing people to death was enough. He didn't expect that there would be a dragon soldier in the Netherworld prison. Roar! The injured earth dragon stimulated the wildness in its body. With a roar, it used its huge body to press down on Yi Qingxian. Its speed and strength were both extremely fierce. Yi Qingxian had a few more explosive flame talismans in her hands, ready to attack. She couldn't retreat, and there were still a small number of her clansmen behind her who hadn't escaped. She could only bite the bullet and fight. Saintess, don't worry about this place. Let's go. The old ancestor of the spirit race motioned for her to escape. He wanted to help, but he didn't have the strength to do so. It was already good enough that she could walk, let alone fight. Let them go first. Yi Qingxian bit her lips and threw out a few more explosive flame talismans, which instantly exploded on the body of the earth dragon. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of the explosion came again, but the speed of the earth dragon didn't slow down at all. The earth dragon was only shaken a little bit, but its huge body was still pressing down on her, trying to flatten her. Yi Qingxuan's face changed, and she quickly retreated to the side. But the speed of the earth dragon was much faster than her speed of escape. When she was about to take out a talisman and was ready to use it, a figure suddenly rushed over and fiercely collided with the earth dragon. Bang! The whole earth dragon was smashed away, and its chest was dented. The severe pain made the earth dragon roar in pain. Immediately, a red figure landed on the ground. It was Yi Tianyun. His whole body was covered with dragon scales, and the dragon god's bloodline burst out. He collided with the earth dragon head-on, and the very hard earth dragon was smashed away by him. This hardness is still not enough. Tianyun snorted coldly, and quickly came to Yi Qingxuan's side, and said, "Quickly take them out. There are no guards outside." He took the lead to rush outside, and when he saw that it was safe outside, he came in to help. As soon as he came in, he saw the earth dragon pressing in this side, and instantly flew over. With the explosive speed of the phoenix wings, he immediately collided with the earth dragon. Yi Qingxian nodded, and quickly evacuated with the spirit clan, leaving the rear to Yi Tianyun. Where did this kid come from? So strong? When the dragon soldiers saw that Yi Tianyun was able to knock the earth dragon away, they were shocked. Few people would dare to fight with the Earth Dragon head-on, and now they saw one. Who cares, crush him for me? The other dragon soldiers didn't think too much. Seeing more and more cultivators escaping outside, they were also anxious. If General Long came back, they would be severely punished. Roar! After the Earth Dragon that had been smashed away slowed down, it rushed towards him again and roared angrily. With the bloodline of the Dragon Clan, it also attached great importance to its own dignity. After fighting with a human, it lost. How could it not be angry? Immediately, a pale yellow light flashed all over its body, and the dragon scales on its body thickened layer by layer. The power of the earth element surrounded the surface of its body, and it looked harder, and the sharp claws became sharper. All of a sudden, its combat power increased rapidly, and it became incomparably powerful, just like a cultivator burning his blood essence, greatly enhancing his own strength. The Earth Dragon rushed over without hesitation, and the other two Earth Dragons on the side also surrounded him, trying to trap him to death. At this time, many people outside noticed this side, and their hearts thumped, and they began to worry. Interesting, these demonic beasts are not bad. Tianyun originally wanted to summon the Black Dragon to fight with them, but seeing these Earth Dragons, he had some other ideas in his mind. Immediately, he suddenly stomped on the ground and rushed towards the Earth Dragon. In the blink of an eye, he flew to the head of the Earth Dragon, and then kicked it hard. Boom! The huge body of the Earth Dragon was immediately kicked to the ground, and with a loud bang, a few cracks appeared on the ground, and layers of air waves swept to the side. Even the hard dragon scales, under this fierce kick, were broken, and the whole Earth Dragon was beaten to the ground. This overbearing power, even after the eruption of the Earth Dragon, could not resist. Chapter 320. After Tianyun said that, he immediately activated the pet capture skill and began to capture the Earth Dragon. This Earth Dragon was a very good demon beast to open the way, and also as a demon beast to guard the door. Since it came to him, he would not waste it. This was a relatively rare demon beast, so he would certainly not miss it. It was a good opportunity to test the pet capture skill. After casting it, the Earth Dragon that was being stepped on was enveloped by the light. The Earth Dragon struggled a little, but it couldn't break free. It was as if it was being suppressed by a force. Roar! The Earth Dragon struggled, but it was not as strong as Tianyun. It could only be suppressed and could not move. What's the situation? Something is wrong. Quickly let the other Earth Dragons attack him. Don't worry about my Earth Dragon. Suppress him first. One of the dragon soldiers felt that something was wrong and quickly signaled his companion to attack. Okay, attack him. The dragon soldier immediately ordered his Earth Dragon to attack Tianyun. The two Earth Dragons that were originally guarding the side immediately obeyed their master's command and stepped on Tianyun. They did not care about their companion lying on the ground. They only listened to their master's command. Even if they were facing their own kind, they would still kill them. Successfully captured the demon beast Earth Dragon. Cultivation, Level 8 Spirit Core Stage, Potential, Grade 3. Ding! Congratulations to the player Tianyun for successfully capturing the Earth Dragon. The reward is 100,000 EXP, Pet Capture Proficiency plus 100 points. Sure enough, as long as he used this skill, he could get EXP, not to mention the proficiency. After successfully capturing him, the Earth Dragon no longer had any hostility towards him. It was completely friendly towards him. Very good, get up and resist them. Tianyun signaled the Earth Dragon under his feet to move. Following that, the Earth Dragon quickly climbed up, roared angrily at the two Earth Dragons that pounced on it, and swatted at them. Bang bang! Under Tianyun's control, the power of the Earth Dragon doubled, and the two Earth Dragons that pounced on him were sent flying. This scene shocked them all. It was obviously the Dragon Soldier's Earth Dragon. How could it attack its own people? What's going on? Why is my Earth Dragon attacking? Stuff. Hurry up and send that brat flying. The Dragon Soldier kept shouting at the side, but it was useless. The Earth Dragon did not listen to the Dragon Soldier at all and continued to fight with its own kind. Yi Tianyun took advantage of this opportunity to fly forward and press down heavily from the air. Bang! Another earth dragon was pressed to the ground. Then he used his capture skill and continued to capture this earth dragon. Another earth dragon rushed over, wanting to send Yi Tianyun flying. However, the earth dragon controlled by Yi Tianyun quickly counterattacked, sending the earth dragon flying. Following that, the two earth dragons started fighting each other, causing the entire hall to shake. Ding! Successfully caught the demonic beast, earth dragon. Cultivation, level 9 spirit core stage, potential, grade 3. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully capturing an earth dragon. The reward is 130,000 experience points, pet capturing mastery plus 100 points. After successfully capturing another earth dragon belonged to him. Then, this earth dragon roared, and under the control of Yi Tianyun, it quickly rushed forward to help the other earth dragon. Bang! Under the suppression of two earth dragons, the remaining earth dragon was pressed to the ground and could not move. Yi Tianyun quickly flew over and immediately used his capture skill. Soon, the earth dragon was also captured, and Yi Tianyun gained experience points and proficiency. What's going on? My earth dragon is also out of control. How did he do it? Is he a beast tamer? Impossible. How could he be a beast tamer? The three dragon soldiers were stunned. Their earth dragon was subdued, so how could they still be called dragon soldiers? They could only be ordinary spirit core stage cultivators. Immediately, they looked at each other and saw the anger in each other's eyes. They took out their spears and rushed towards Yi Tianyun. Give me back my earth dragon. They roared and rushed towards Yi Tianyun. They thought that their earth dragon would be able to suppress Yi Tianyun, but they didn't expect that their earth dragon would be subdued by Yi Tianyun. Give it back? Yi Tianyun smiled and said, Then I will give it back to you. He stretched out his hand and pointed forward. The three earth dragons roared and pounced towards the three dragon soldiers. The three huge bodies covered the entire palace. Don't come over. The dragon soldiers were pale, their cultivation level was almost the same as the earth dragon. Under the fierce attack, the spear couldn't penetrate even a little bit. Soon after, they were heavily pressed down, flattening the three dragon soldiers. Ding! Successfully killed dragon soldier, gained 280,000 EXP, 3700 crazy point, 150 SBS. Obtained martial arts dominating cloud pierce, soaring cloud strike. Item obtained, earth dragon spear, mid-grade soul tool, earth dragon armor, low-grade soul tool. Ding! Successfully killed dragon soldier, gained 270,000 EXP, 3600 crazy point, 150 SBS. The three dragon soldiers were easily trampled to death. If a cultivator of the same level faced a demon beast of the same level, as long as they are not heaven-defying, they will basically be crushed to death. This scene fell into the eyes of many cultivators behind them. They were deeply shocked. Even Yi Qingxian was shocked. In just a short time, the three earth dragons were subdued, and they were crushed to death by Yi Tianyun's earth dragon. Very good, come back. Yi Tianyun rushed out with the three earth dragons and smashed the door that was not opened, stopping them outside. At this time, many cultivators outside have already fled in all directions. They didn't stay here. General Long will come back at any time, so it is the best choice to leave as soon as possible. All of you, get on this earth dragon and run away. Yi Tianyun signaled the people of spirit race to ride on the earth dragon. They did not hesitate and climbed on the earth dragon one after another. This earth dragon is very large. It can accommodate dozens of people at a time. It is indeed not enough, but most of the people with serious injuries can sit on it, so they can escape first. If the problem is not big, they can just follow behind. Qingxian, you go first. I made them listen to your command. Yi Tianyun signaled Yi Qingxian to quickly take the people away. What about you? Yi Qingxian looked at him and said, I will completely flatten this place. Yi Tianyun said coldly. Chapter 321. You want to destroy this place? Yi Qingxian said hurriedly, it's very difficult to destroy the divine inscriptions in the Netherworld prison. If we don't destroy the divine inscriptions, we won't be able to destroy the Netherworld prison. Moreover, if General Long comes, what will you do? Yi Qingshuan's eyes were filled with worry. She felt that Yi Tianyun was courting death. She knew that Yi Tianyun's cultivation was not weak, but he was courting death by going in alone. If he was surrounded, it would be impossible for him to escape. Do you think I can't escape? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently and said, as long as the Netherworld prison is here, it will continue to imprison cultivators. I know that destroying the Netherworld Empire is the only way to solve the problem. But first, we can destroy the Netherworld prison. That way, we can destroy the Netherworld Empire. As for the divine inscriptions, don't worry. I can destroy them. I believe you know this. He was a divine inscription master, so he had a good understanding of the divine inscriptions in the Netherworld prison. But Yi Qingxian was still worried about his safety. She was afraid that he would not come back. If this little friend wants to go, then let him go. The spirit race's old ancestor stretched out his finger and pointed at Yi Tianyun's head. This is the divine inscription memory that I gave you. It can easily destroy the divine inscriptions. I hope it will be of help to you. Thank you, old ancestor. After Yi Tianyun examined the memory, he found that it was different from the one Yi Qingxian gave him. It was completely focused on breaking the Tao of divine runes, which were similar to array formations. After saying that, Tianyun nodded to Yi Qingxian and turned around to leave. I will wait for you to come back. Yi Qingxian shouted. Yi Tianyun's body shook. This familiar scene reminded him of Shi Shuiyun. She also said the same thing to him. Then he turned around and smiled. I will definitely come back. After saying that, he flew forward. Yi Qingxian did not hesitate. She immediately controlled the earth dragons and left the Netherworld prison. If he stayed here, he would be discovered sooner or later. As these earth dragons ran at top speed, they quickly disappeared into the horizon. Although these earth dragons could not fly, their running speed on the ground was not slow at all. Yi Tianyun immediately returned to the Netherworld prison. He held the Ice Frost Divine Bow tightly in his hand and attacked again. When the guards saw Yi Tianyun charging back, they were scared out of their wits. What's going on? This killing god is back? When the guard who had run back saw Yi Tianyun, he hurriedly tried to close the door. However, the door was too thick and it wasn't easy to close. The door didn't even close for long before Yi Tianyun condensed a thick ice arrow in his hand. His eyes flashed with a blue light. Ice Fury! He aimed at the hall and shot it out. A blue beam of light pierced out and finally exploded in the main hall. Boom! It was as if a berserk blizzard had exploded inside, freezing all the guards inside and turning them into ice sculptures in an instant. Even if he quickly melted the ice, it would be meaningless. He had already frozen to death. From head to toe, even his bone marrow had been frozen by the extreme cold ice. He couldn't be any more dead than he already was. Ding! Successfully killed a guard. Reward, 170. 000 EXP, 2300 Crazy Point, 100 SBS. Obtained Martial Art Heavenly Cloud Palm, Heavenly Cloud Step. Obtained Black Iron Sword, Recovery Pill. Ding! Successfully killed a guard. Reward, ding! Under the arrow, all the guards were killed and a lot of EXP and SBS were dropped. Their sin value was absolutely high, even higher than the elders he had killed before. One could imagine how many ruthless things these guards had done. Even if they were instructed by the Netherworld Empire to do so, at least the sin was imposed on them. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tianyun successfully entered the Netherworld prison. A large part of the prison was frozen, but he didn't look back and continued to rush inside. He glanced at the divine rune on the wall, and a dazzling light flashed in his hand. He jumped up and fiercely poked the divine rune a few times. Every poke was very powerful. After poking 100 times, the divine rune on the wall immediately dissipated. This is the way to break the divine rune given by the spirit race old ancestor. He was the one who carved the divine rune here, so how could he not know the problem? So it wasn't difficult to break the divine rune here. The most important thing is that his level is amazing. Otherwise, even if he knew the way to break the divine rune here, he wouldn't be able to easily break it. After breaking the divine rune here, he quickly rushed to the other side and poked 100 times in a row, and the divine rune immediately disappeared. For someone at his level, poking 100 times in a row doesn't take long. It only takes a few seconds to break the divine rune. As such, his speed was extremely fast. If the spirit race were here, they would definitely be shocked. His movements were so clean and efficient that it was rare to see him. Go. After Yi Tianyun landed on the ground, he quickly took out the ice divine bow and aimed at the broken divine rune on the wall. Yi Tianyun pulled the longbow and shot 3 arrows at the wall in a frenzy. The wall immediately collapsed. Without the support of the divine rune, although the wall is strong, it still collapsed under such a powerful attack. Boom! He destroyed half of the entrance outside the gate, which made him feel very satisfied. Very good, as long as there are no more divine runes, this place is as weak as tofu. Yi Tianyun didn't continue to destroy the wall, but quickly rushed inside. Along the way, he destroyed the divine rune on the wall, breaking it easily. No matter what, he is a divine rune master. After knowing the way to break the divine rune, it was naturally easy for him to destroy it. As he rushed in, a steady stream of guards came over. They seemed to come from the underground of the Nether prison. Obviously, there is an underground area in the Nether prison. Yi Qingxian and the others didn't know about this. It is very likely that they only dug down later, otherwise they would have known about it. What's the situation outside? What exactly happened? Guards quickly rushed up, but what greeted them was the ice arrows, freezing them into ice sculptures. Yi Tianyun killed his way in, and soon arrived at the stairs that led underground. It was quite spacious. There is an underground passage here. I didn't know about it before. I wonder what is down there. Yi Tianyun rushed down without hesitation, and soon reached the underground. What came into view was an extremely spacious place, a huge mine. Chapter 322. In the huge mine in front of him, there were a lot of cultivators mining day and night. Everyone had shackles on their feet, and even in this state, they still had to work hard to mine. Their cultivation was not low. All of them were at the core condensation stage. The lowest was at the spirit refinement stage, so it was obviously much more efficient for them to mine. There were at least thousands of cultivators imprisoned here. He didn't expect that there would be such a large number of cultivators hidden here. They had rescued many people before. Some of them had been imprisoned in the alchemy room or the forging room, and they had rescued them all. However, this place was the only place that they had not rescued. God knows that there would be a mine here, but he didn't expect that there would be such a huge mine under the Netherworld prison. Yi Tianyun looked around and saw that the resources here were quite rich. After upgrading the appraisal eye, it will be easier for him to analyze the materials. Even if he didn't know what the materials were, he can easily find them. Jade Spirit Stone. Most of the Jade Spirit Stones weigh more than 50 kilograms. Preliminary estimation of the remaining resources is more than 1,000,000 kilograms. Black iron or essential material to forge soul tools. Preliminary estimation of the remaining resources is more than 10 million kilograms. Purple crystal or essential material to forge heaven-level weapons. Preliminary estimation of the remaining resources is more than 100 kilograms. Cloud gold soil. Essential material to refine level 5 elixirs. Can increase the success rate of refining elixirs. Preliminary estimation of the remaining resources is more than 10,000 kilograms. At a glance, all the names of the materials, and even the approximate amount of the remaining resources can be easily determined. Although it is not very accurate, the approximate amount is estimated. Among them, purple crystal ore and cloud gold soil are the most precious, and the remaining resources are even less. He didn't expect that there would be so many resources in this mine. No wonder they captured so many cultivators. In addition to mining, they can also use the materials here to refine weapons or elixirs. There are a lot of jade spirit stones. If he can dig them all out, then he will be rich. But these things are not so easy to dig, they are very hard, it is too difficult to dig them out. Therefore, the miners couldn't be ordinary people, they must have good cultivation. The Netherworld Empire captured them and forced them to work in the mines without paying any compensation. Hurry up, don't be lazy. It seems that something happened up there. Should we go and take a look? What can happen? Just let the others go up. Who dares to break into our Netherworld prison? They all shook their heads and couldn't be bothered with him. Instead, they lashed out with their whips again and again, heavily lashing the cultivators in front of them. Regardless of whether they were slacking off or not, they would lash out at those who were not pleasing to their eyes. If he was beaten to death, he would be dragged away without any sympathy. These cultivators came in batches and batches, and there was no need to worry about the lack of people. Give me the antidote, give me the antidote. At this moment, a cultivator suddenly got poisoned. He lay on the ground and twisted his body. He stretched out his hand in agony, gesturing for them to give him the antidote. However, the guards couldn't be bothered to go over. They continued to stand there and watch. They couldn't even be bothered to take another look. The poison over there has flared up. Aren't you going to feed him pills? I'm too lazy to go over. If he wants to take the pill, then let him crawl over himself. If he doesn't want to eat it, then so be it. The guard shrugged his shoulders, feeling that it didn't matter. After all, he wasn't the one who was poisoned. Is that so? Then why don't you try eating a few pills? A ghostly voice sounded beside them, causing them to turn their heads in anger. Just as they were about to lash out with their whips, 2 ice arrows pierced through their bodies. They didn't even see Yi Tianyun's face clearly before they completely lost consciousness. Yi Tianyun picked up the antidote from their corpses and immediately threw it to the cultivators so that they could consume it. That cultivator climbed up with difficulty. His body trembled as he picked up the antidote and put it into his mouth. After consuming it, his condition immediately improved greatly. It wasn't as painful as before. Yi Tianyun shook his head. This so-called antidote could only temporarily slow down the poison. As time passed, their condition would worsen and they would die in the end. Who exactly are you? The guards at the side ruthlessly lashed out with their whips. However, the ice arrows had already pierced through their bodies and sealed their mouths for eternity. This scene was witnessed by all the cultivators. They all stopped what they were doing and looked at him in a daze. They didn't know what to say. Now that you are all free, search these guards for the keys to unlock your own shackles. Prepare to kill our way out with me. Yi Tianyun shouted loudly. His voice echoed throughout the entire mine. Soon after, they reacted. As if they had gone mad, they quickly pounced on the guards and began to search for the keys. However, many of the cultivators didn't plan to escape. Their eyes were still filled with despair. What are you waiting for? Aren't you going to escape? Escape? Do you think we can survive if we escape? We don't even have antidote pills. If we go out, we will still die. They were all stunned. Even if they unlocked their shackles, the poison in their bodies hadn't been cured. What was the point of that? The antidote pills weren't on the guards. They only had temporary antidote pills. The effects were very limited. They couldn't persist forever. This time, many people were stunned, and the hope in their eyes suddenly dimmed. Don't worry. I will refine a batch of antidote pills to completely remove the poison in your bodies. Yi Tianyun said in a low voice. What you need now is to unlock your shackles. Prepare to kill our way out. His voice was like the most beautiful sound in the world. When it reached their ears, they were all dumbfounded. He can refine antidote pills. Really? We're saved. We're saved. They shouted and hurriedly began to untie the shackles on their body again. At the same time, Yi Tianyun is already analyzing the poison pill, and he easily analyzed the poison pill. This poison pill was much weaker than the poison pill that the Spirit Tribe Patriarch took. It was like a weakened version. Naturally, it would be easier to detoxify it. It was basically equivalent to a second-grade pill. One could imagine how easy it was. Fortunately, it's a second-grade pill. Otherwise, it would be more troublesome. Yun found a large pile of spiritual medicine from his storage ring. These were all looted when he passed by the alchemy room. No matter what grade they were, he would plunder them. He knew that some spiritual medicine could be used to refine antidote pills. He just didn't expect there to be so many cultivators here. When he was refining the pills, many cultivators around him didn't just stand there. Instead, they picked up their hoes and started digging. They seemed to be working harder and harder than before. What he dug out were the most precious and the best materials. However, they didn't take the materials they dug out. Many cultivators moved the ores they dug out and moved them to Yun's side. Obviously, they were going to pay him. Yun was stunned. He didn't think about this and didn't ask for any payment. He didn't expect that they would take the initiative to give him the ores they dug out. Some of them wanted to dig out more ores while they were refining the pills. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.